Yes.
I don't see you, Wilson. I don't see you.
I was eating.
There you are. There you are. Okay.
All right, colleagues, welcome to our voting session. For everybody listening, you know my mantra, please do not start texting the members now. We're getting ready to get this started. We are being video recorded and there are people observing, so please be mindful of that to everyone. Okay, guys, start with the first bill. Bob?
House Bill 88, Delegate Tricutian. There is an amendment in your packet. It has a different number than the one that was distributed on Monday. And there have been some slight adjustments to it. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 states that it's the goal of the state that the electric distribution system support in a cost-effective manner state policy goals with regard to greenhouse gas reduction, renewable energy, decreased dependence on imported electricity, and achieving energy distribution resiliency, efficiency, and reliability. Then the amendments strike the proposed distribution work groups, since the PSC already has one working and has had for the past 6 some odd years. We then go on to what is page 5 of the bill, requiring the PSC to submit every year starting December 1st of 23, a status report on the electric distribution system evolution, including information on 12 specific items ranging from measures to decrease greenhouse gas emissions, priority for vulnerable communities, energy efficiency, anticipated load increases, energy storage, technology incorporation, management of load variability, demand response and other non-wire and non-capital alternatives, increased use of distributed resources, transparent participation, and other issues the commission considers appropriate. Then we take what came in the bill as language for MEA and the commission to coordinate efforts of the utilities to obtain federal funding, and we turn it around and say, first of all, the General Assembly strongly encourages electric companies to pursue diligently IIJA funds for electric distribution system activities, require the commission and MEA to provide assistance and support for those efforts, require MEA to identify funds specifically for increasing the efficiency of the electric distribution system, grid hardening, and other activities that are allowable under IIJA, and anything else the commission identifies. As needed to promote the state's policy goals, the commission has to require each electric company to report to the commission and MEA on the funding they've applied for, what the status is, conditions that need to be met to obtain that funding. And the commission may, but does not have to, adopt regs or issue orders that require the companies to apply for federal and other available funds. Finally, the commission has to adopt regs on or before July 1 of 25 that will specifically implement policies for electric distribution system planning and improvements to promote the state's policy goals. What came in the bill as a part of the public utilities article to require investor-owned utility electric companies to apply certain labor standards has moved over into the prevailing wage portions of the labor and employment article, and apply only to fund projects that are supported with federal funding and only to the extent of that federal funding. Finally, there is an uncodified status report, sort of an interim report PSC has to give us by the end of this year, since it's too soon to require a full report on what they're doing. That's the amendment on the chairman's amendment.
Move the amendment.
Second.
Got a second?
Second.
All right, on the amendments, all in favor of the amendment, say aye.
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 Opposed? No.
Okay,
Those
Rick.
bills amended.
Okay, Rick, I take it there's some discussion.
I just, it sounds like you've rewritten the whole bill. If that's the amendment, we got to build it. We basically didn't have. This is something totally new. And I'm just very concerned. We heard the comments on the floor the other day about the funding of China, investing in China, and all these different solar and wind projects. All of that equipment comes from China. So all those government subsidies, that taxpayers' money, basically at the end of the day, a large percentage of it is going to China. So this is way too complicated and way too big an amendment. But that's my feeling on it.
Well, I'll let Delegate Charkoudian explain because I don't believe the amendments.
You're muted, Mr. Chairman.
I heard him.
I'll let Delegate Charkoudian explain because I don't believe they're as sweeping as you may believe they are.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, they really aren't. I mean, there's pieces that I like more than other pieces in it, but essentially it is the same bill. There's a lot that's been struck in terms of the work group, but for the most part, the broader structure of requiring the Public Service Commission to establish regulations that within the context of the distribution system planning that meet a number of states' goals, all of that is still here. Some of the goals have been adjusted a bit and some of the pieces have been added and struck. But really in terms of what the core of the bill does, it's not striking the bill and adding a new bill. It very much is not. Everything that's been added to it had an element that was already in the previous bill and got refined in some way.
And Delegate Charkoudian, thank you for that explanation. But I mean, just to be straight up honest with you, I've never supported any of these failed policies. I've been here for 20 years. And because of that, I'm not in support of the amendment. I'm not in support of the bill. I want to make it clear why. Because these policies have failed and our utility rates are through the roof and the utility customers are the one paying for it.
Well,
Delegate Impleria, I'm happy to debate the bill when it's time to do that, but I think your question was, is this a totally different bill? And I just wanted to clarify that it is not. So whatever the reasons are that
And now
you'd
we're
like.
just trying to be honest.
Okay,
right. So
appreciate that.
and I just want to make sure we have the discussion because, and obviously Rick and I, listen, we've never had this discussion about second reader debate on the floor. We're all colleagues. You're in my committee. However, I know that the other side is the minority party. I would just ask if you're going to do an amendment on on one of our bills that you give me heads up.
No,
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm going to do
No,
that.
no, Rick. No, this is for everybody. There's
Okay.
other bills here that are going to be in contention because I'm not trying to strike your voice and say no second
Right.
reader arguments or no second reader debate. I understand that you have a job to do, and if you can't get it done in the committee, that you may have to try to get it done on the floor.
Right.
I was just saying, when it comes to any opposition, if you're gonna stand up and fight against one of your committee's bills, I just ask you to let me know. I'm not gonna tell you no, just to give us a heads up. That's all I ask. I don't want to stipend anyone's voice. I want you guys to be heard. I know sometimes you feel that you're not being heard and you're being excluded from the process, and I don't want that to happen in this committee. So that being said, Rick, did you want to discuss this bill? Because we have the bill. It's been the amendments have been moved, and we're getting ready to vote on the bill. Is there something you want to discuss, or is yours just a general?
No, somebody else wants to say, I've said my piece.
Thank
Somebody
you.
else wants to say something that,
No, I just want to give you an opportunity.
no, I got you. No,
right.
respectfully, thank you. Yes.
Is there anybody else that wishes to discuss? Because I know this is important legislation. So, and honestly, if there's any issues that you do have, and you guys plan on dealing with them on the floor, just let me know. That's all I ask. If not, I believe it's been properly moved and seconded. Is that correct, Brian?
It hasn't been seconded, so.
Second. I second.
There you
All right. All right, on the bill as amended, Delegate Crosby,
go. Aye.
Delegate Brooks,
Aye.
Delegate Fisher,
No.
Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Harrison,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yes.
Delegate Pippy,
No.
Delegate Mounts,
No.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Impalaria,
No.
Delegate Branch,
Aye.
Delegate Valderrama,
Aye.
Delegate Walker,
Yes.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Adams,
No.
Delegate Aaron's,
No.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
No.
Delegate Watson.
Aye.
All right, bill moves favorably. Next bill.
House Bill 145 authorizes the Commissioner of Labor and Industry to issue a stop work order after an investigation to a contractor or subcontractor that may have violated the state's prevailing wage law. There are amendments in your package that provides that the commissioner, instead of the appeals board, will have jurisdiction to hear appeals, requires the commissioner to provide a notification of the violation, a meeting within 48 hours to discuss a resolution, and a reasonable time frame for the violator to resolve the issue. Provides that a prime contractor cannot terminate the contract with the sub until 48 hours after that meeting between the sub and the commissioner. And the prime may not fire the sub if the violation has been resolved, nor may the prime incur any civil liability for damages to the subcontractor if the stop work order is issued against the subcontractor. The amendments also clarify the hearing process when an investigation identifies a possible violation, but a stop work order has not been issued, and it caps the civil fine to $1,000 against the prime or sub that knowingly fails to cooperate with the process.
All right.
Move the amendment.
Do I have a second
Second.
on the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
See no opposition. Now the bill is amended. I see there's discussion. Chris Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I can you tell me, is it possible? I mean, this is a bill that I would be very aware of and would be interested in looking at. Do you have more voting sessions? In other words, could you hold this so I can read the amendments? That's not to hold this thing off. I'd like to actually read
The
it.
problem is it would, because this is not going to be heard. If we do it now, it won't be on the floor till Friday. And that's assuming we don't get any amendments. We'll have a second reader on Friday if we're lucky. And I mean, it's
All right.
I mean, I'm not trying to stick you.
Well, in this particular instance, I'm not trying to stop a bill because I actually thought there were some business groups that were in support with the amendment. So, for example, when you say $1,000 per violation, is that per, like if you have 50 employees working on a job
Okay,
and there's 50 violations, is that per violation or is that per contractor? I mean, that'd be one question I'd have for you.
Counsel?
So the $1,000 is against a contractor or a subcontractor that knowingly fails to produce records or attend a hearing or a deposition as required by an investigation into the prevailing wage violation. So if they're not participating.
It's not for the
it's not
mistakes they've made. It's for them failing to participate in the process.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So if there's a prevailing wage violation, normally that's, if they've made the mistake for one, they've made the mistake for all employees. So there'd be 50, in this case of 50 employees, there'd be 50 violations. And then
This
So what you're
$1,000
saying-
doesn't say per violation.
Right.
Okay.
That's just
All
for not participating in the process, trying to get to the resolution.
Okay. Now the next question is, how does council view this as actually working in the field? Because trades work together, they work in concert, obviously, with the prime contractor's direction. And I'm just curious how this bill actually works in practice. I mean, because if you've got a trade that's counting on another trade to get their work done and they're in the middle, I mean, I don't care if it's 48 hours or 48 weeks, it's going to hold projects up. And how's it going to work in practice? Is the owner going to get rid of their liquidated damage claims? Are we going to get rid of requisitions of billings? It's just a series of questions as to how this actually works in practice. I would imagine, last thing I'll say, if there is a safety violation, like a major problem with the construction, that there might be something wrong with the scaffolding, or maybe even the construction of the project with steel, and somebody comes through and stops the project because there's some serious safety violations, I could see why stop work order would happen there. We're talking about prevailing wage, which are basically the hours worked on a job. It would have the same treatment in the construction project. It would theoretically halt the project. So my question basically is twofold. One, what happens to liquidated damages on these projects? Because that's how the owner compels performance. And then two, how do you deal with multiple trades, multiple contractors on one job, and counting on these critical paths to go through, and all of a sudden one of the trades just stops working for a period of time?
I don't know if the council can answer all that, but go ahead, Erica.
So the practicality of the day-to-day, unfortunately, I've never worked in construction, so I'm not sure about how that would work exactly and how the owner would treat that. But what I can say is that you mentioned a safety violation. They could issue a stop work order for the safety violation. In this case, the stop work order would be if they are not paying the person. And that is the reason for the 48 hours, to offer time for the contractor to meet with the commissioner and to talk about it and try to come to a resolution about what's going on.
And I'm saying from a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being pays not right, 10 being somebody's on a scaffolding, could fall and get killed. Scaffolding violations make sense to me, and how departments are able to, OSHA and MOSH are able to stop a project because they see major safety violations. This just doesn't seem to rise to the level of necessity. Here's the point.
I understand your question. I see your point. Obviously, you just disagree with the bill as it sits right now, correct?
The owner liquidated damages. I already know the answer to this.
Correct.
The owner is the one that ultimately has the power here, and they'll enforce it. So that's that, unless you change the bill and prohibit the owner from doing that. And then secondly, this issue of
prevailing wages, you know that, right? This is for prevailing wage projects, state funded, state monies, things of that nature.
I'm saying it doesn't matter what the stop work order is. I'm saying that there's still a contract under law between the contractor and the owner. I'm not even talking about between the contractor
The owner of what? The owner of what?
Of the property. It might be the state.
It's the
saying,
state. It's the state.
So they have liquidated damages.
The state.
Yes.
Mhm.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing too here, I would just say on that note is, first, Delegate Adams, we did sit down and negotiate through the amendments as the two panels came in. I know one was ABC. We checked with them; they're okay with the way it's worded. And then the second is the 48 hours to rectify or cure. If you're able to cure, we actually put in additional language this morning that says the prime can only then cannot fire the sub if they've cured as well, to kind of strengthen that language and tighten it up, which is something else that they asked for again this morning. So we were happy to oblige.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Chair, you got other hands up.
Okay, Delegate Blair.
Okay, really just follow up to Chris's comments. My problem is with the stop work order on a prevailing wage issue.
Yes.
I do believe they should be paid properly. But if you slap a stop work order on, not only is that employee not getting paid the prevailing wage he's supposed to, now he's going to lose time from work. And also the other contractors that are on the job, like Delegate Adams said, they're also going to be part of that stop work order. It has nothing to do with that. I think the stop work order is too harsh. It affects too many people who really have no culpability in what's going on, but they're going to be punished for it, because if they're shut down for a week, then employees that need that paycheck are going to lose that paycheck for a week, because they're not getting paid because they're not on the job. So it isn't like they can come back. They might be able to come back and get the additional monies that are owed to them. They're not going to get paid for the time that they're not on the job. So I have a real problem with the stop work order on a prevailing wage issue. I agree there's tons of reasons to have a stop work order, but a prevailing wage one just isn't there, because you're really punishing a lot of people that have nothing to do with this.
And I think that part of the goal, honestly, is obviously this is just one of the tools in the box, but you don't want to hear that, because we do have to deal with worst case and most practical scenario. But that's the part of the goal, is to ensure this tool, that they know the tools in the box, so this issue doesn't rise to this level. Make sure that this is what I believe we're trying to send the message that we're serious about our prevailing wage and want these individuals, these subs, obviously to pay these people what they're owed, which is why they have to have this sword of Damocles overhead, letting them know this could happen. And yes, you could mess your buddy up as well as yourself if you do something like try to cut people's work. However, we try to build something in to would allow, that's where the 48 hours came in, to allow them to resolve this issue and get things going back to work if the commissioner so chooses to use a stop work order. Because as you well know, that's not always the case. And a lot of times things are resolved as soon as they're brought up. But I do understand your issue. We did try our best to address it through the 48 hours.
Mr. Chair, an additional note there is Delegate Impalaria that it is a may, it's not a shall, so
Right.
it's not mandated.
But I understand your trepidation. Any more questions, Rick?
Nope.
Delegate Harrison?
Is it too late to be amended on the bill? If so, it's okay.
I mean, this year, I didn't know we were doing people, ENT is the first person I saw that amended people onto bills. Usually we just kind of let it roll.
No worries, no worries.
Bob?
It's good.
Or Erica, is this an issue?
I can add.
Yeah, I just want, I mean, because you are on the committee, so yes, you can be added. Is there anybody else who would like to be added to this bill? Okay, let's, Erica, you call the names as you see them.
Okay, so I have Harrison, Turner,
Fennell,
thank you.
Valderrama,
Where are my other union people?
I'd like to be on there.
yeah,
course.
no doubt about it,
You
Charcutean,
knew that. Brooks,
Brooks,
anybody else we missed?
Fisher, did we get Fisher?
Yeah, there he is. Thank you.
So I have Harrison, Turner, Fennell, Valderrama, Charcutean, and Brooks. Anyone else?
I believe
Those
that's
are the
all.
names, Mr. Chair, those are the names that are addition to the ones that are already on there, right?
I would imagine so.
Okay.
Rogers and Fennell and Valderrama are actually on here already.
That's what I thought.
I'm sure they want to be on there twice, so thank you.
Does
Okay.
Delegate Branch have his hand up?
I do not believe.
No,
you
not
did.
for that, for a
Not-
question.
That's what I wondered.
Delegate Branch, go ahead.
Where else is this being done in the country? This a bill of this sort?
State of New Jersey, Delegate
Yeah.
Branch.
How is it working there? Is it working well?
Based on the testimony, I believe it was a state senator in New Jersey that testified on this bill. They had no complaints and it seemed to be working fine.
It
This
has
is-
been used, in my understanding, Delegate Branch 4 times, and they were pretty serious infractions.
And like, as you said, it is a may, not a will, correct,
Correct.
Mr. Vice Chair?
Yes, Delegate Branch.
And it's this is state contracts only, nothing private. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. For prevailing wage
Correct.
applies to state contracts.
It's only state
And
contract.
that 48 hours, is that the investigation period, Mr. Chairman?
No,
No,
that's after
also-
the investigation. That's once they found the violations after the investigation, they find the violation, they issue the stop work order, and within 48 hours, they have to try to resolve it. The commissioner, the one who issued the stop work order, now has to make sure that there's a meeting within 48 hours to resolve this issue and get these matters taken care of and get people back to work.
So there is some consideration for those that might, where the contract may have to, where the stop order may have to stop.
Correct,
So they're doing everything they can before they get to that point.
correct.
That's basically what it sounds like I'm hearing. Thank you.
Okay, any other
Move the bill-
questions?
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Second, thank you. On as amended, House Bill 145 as amended, Delegate Crosby,
Aye.
Delegate Brooks,
Aye.
Delegate Fisher,
No.
Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Harrison,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yes.
Delegate Pippy,
No.
Delegate Mouts,
No.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Impalaria,
No.
Delegate Branch,
Aye.
Delegate Valderrama,
Aye.
Delegate Walker,
Yes.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Adams,
No.
Delegate Aaron's,
No.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charcutean,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
No.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
All right, bill passes. Next bill, I believe we have, the next bill on this list is House Bill 259. We're gonna put that at the end of the calendar. Is that correct, Tiffany?
We can do it now or at the end, whichever you
It's
prefer.
what you'd like that counts to me.
Let's put it at the end.
Yes, let's put this one at the end. All right, then we have, we have another big one. 469, we'll put that at the end too?
496.
For
496.
96, it is whatever is the chairman's pleasure.
All right, well, yeah, let's put these two at the end. And now we have another exciting bill, Delegate Carey's bill, House Bill 563.
House Bill 563, there's an amendment in your packet. The bill as it came in would have lifted all caps on fees that surplus lines brokers could charge to their policyholders. With the amendments, instead, the bill will change from $100 to $200. The policy fee that can be charged for a personal lines policy increase from $250 to the greater of $500 or 7% of the policy premium for a commercial lines policy, and allows a reasonable fee to be charged to a defined exempt, what is it called? Exempt commercial policyholder. The bill was taken up in subcommittee and was voted favorable with the amendment.
Okay. Delegate Howard.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Chair.
apologize. Wait, did you want to do this before the amendments, or can we move the amendments first?
Yeah,
Move the amendment.
yeah.
Second.
All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition to the amendments? All right, on the bill as amended, Delegate Howard.
So I'm sorry. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Bob, just for clarification, so it's $500 or 7%, whichever is greater.
Correct.
And that's the default mode of the bill.
That's for commercial policyholders, yes.
But
If you are a very large policyholder, what's called an exempt commercial policyholder, your policies tend to be custom made anyway.
Mhm.
So that's where they would negotiate a reasonable fee. Most of the attention, however, has been on the 500 or 7% of premium, whichever is greater.
And then, but on what policies would that fall?
This is for surplus lines coverage.
Okay.
For the most part, that's going to be policies where it's either not available or extremely expensive for the regular admitted insurers to provide. So they tend to be somewhat higher premiums anyway.
Yeah.
There, in terms of individuals, I know that for a while some of the residential property in Ocean City was being done by surplus lines because there was a dearth of coverage. But I think the admitted market has come back for that.
So surplus lines are more expensive, and then
They tend to be, because it's a surplus lines tend to be used for essentially higher risk.
right. So they're more expensive, and then it's going to be the $500 or 7% of the greater, which is 7% is going to be the default mechanism in the bill for the more expensive surplus line. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Are there any more questions?
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Second. You're on mute, Mr. Chair.
No discussion? Okay, on the bill as amended, Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Sorry, wrong bill.
563.
I understand. There we go. Delegate Crosby, aye. Delegate Brooks.
Aye.
Aye.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Harrison.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Mounts.
Yes.
Delegate Carey.
Yes.
Delegate Apalaria.
Yes.
Delegate Branch.
Yep.
Delegate Valderrama. Chris.
Aye.
Delegate Walker.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
Yeah.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Okay, bill passes. Next bill.
Next bill is House Bill 568. This bill authorizes a title insurance producer to disperse payments to specified real estate professionals. There is an amendment that you received separately from Kayla not too long ago, so it's not in the packet. that you received originally. But that amendment changes the word compensation to commission.
Elliot Aaron's.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, that's my amendment. I had some issues with this bill the other day and I was talking about it. And one of the things the bill says it does is that it's going to ask these title companies to pay the commission to the agent. And when you say compensation, I think compensation can be a much broader term than commission. As real estate agents, we do things and we do have breakouts where we have to disclose what we take and what we don't take and what we're being paid. That's the one part of it. But I do have some other comments about the bill. And I think if you give me a minute, I can explain them fairly briefly. Another part about the bill is I think this bill will actually then become this is a broker's choice bill. And my compensation agreement with my broker, in my opinion, is a private deal. It should be remain private between me and the broker, not between me, the broker, and a title company. I think that offers the opportunity for some other people to understand the dollars and cents of my personal agreement with my broker. The other thing that has come up to me, and again, I've talked to people on my side. I've had conversations with both sides of this. I've talked to people on my side of the bridge here, and my brokers, several of them have had nothing but issues with this, saying, why are we being pushed so hard to do a bill that we don't necessarily want? In fairness to the other part of this is that we've done this in the past with some brokers and some title companies. But in reality, it is my opinion that this type of deal could become a recruiting tool for the large title companies and also for the large brokers to sit back and kind of disenfranchise them more with their agents. Again, I got a lot of questions about the bill because it's being pushed pretty hard by one side, and I've never seen one push this hard in my short time as being an agent and also being on this committee. I just have a lot of concerns with the bill personally, and I don't know that it's in the best interest of the agent because this bill will increase cost to somebody. And typically when you increase the cost to somebody, that's going to be the person, the agent, not the broker, not the title company. It's going to fall back on the agent.
Okay. Where did the real estate folks come in on this?
They were favorable, Mr. Chair.
They're very favorable.
Was there anybody in opposition?
The only person in opposition was the Maryland Land Title Association.
Okay. Nedward?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to reiterate to the committee kind of the bill came because over the last 30 years, they've been doing business where at times there are some brokers that allow their agents to get paid at the settlement table. And an attorney for the real estate commission, a new attorney, said, I'm not sure that's the way the law read to that person. So what the real estate commission said was, well, you know what? Let's put it in law. Let's be clear that this is allowable. This doesn't require it. This just gives them the flexibility if the broker wants them paid at the table to be paid at the table. That's all this does. So really all we're doing is trying to clarify the law so that, no offense, Mr. Chair, some attorney doesn't come back in later on and say, oh, that's not the way I read it, that we're trying to be clear about it. So that's what we're doing. About increased costs, I've talked with the real estate commission, or not the real estate commission, but the Maryland Realtors, and I'm not sure about any increased costs. Again, I come back to, we're just trying to clarify a practice that's been in effect for 30 years. And frankly, according to them, there have never been any complaints with the Maryland Real Estate Commission about this practice. So, and then I know that Delegate Aaron's commission, I just saw the amendment, commission versus compensation. I mean, I think we went for the term compensation because there are different kinds of definitions for compensation in the real estate article. And frankly, I think in part of the real estate article, when they refer to commission, they're actually talking about the real estate commission. So we thought the compensation would be clear. So again, I'll turn it over to someone else. I see there are other questions. Thank you.
Delegate Branch.
Yeah, Delegate Carey, this is common practice. So I guess in the line of business that these realtors do, there are often so many notaries and so many, notarizing of documents and signing of documents. It sounds like it's a daily, regular, normal sort of practice.
Delegate, yeah, they've used this practice, I guess, like I said, for the last 30 years. I guess there are some brokers that do, some brokers that don't. But really what we were just trying to do was to be able to, number one, make the law clear for those brokers that do, and also provide some future flexibility for other brokers out there who might want to.
Just codifies what they're already doing currently.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Delegate Crosby, and if I could get my more senior members to put their hands down if they're done questions, there you go. Delegate Crosby.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to kind of come back to the amendment because the amendment is right now, that's what we're discussing is between compensation and commission. And if we were to change that, then it would have, it would really create confusion within the same section of the law because we're using two different terms within the same exact section. And the reason compensation, again, what Delegate Carey was saying, the reason we went with compensation is for the simple fact that there are multiple terms used underneath compensation, and that grabs all of them, so it's more encompassing. So that is the reason why, I guess, I don't know if we're in the position to resist the amendment. I don't know how that happens in committee, but I would say that we keep what we currently have.
Well, obviously the maker of the amendment has the right to move the amendment, and then if he can get someone to second it, and then we vote on the amendment. But since that's what we're discussing now, Delegate Arentz.
Thank you once again. Again, I do appreciate the comments that we've been told about compensation and commission, but this bill is about my commission. This is what the whole bill was intended to do, pay commission. When you look at a real estate agent and that what they get paid and how they possibly can pay, we have affiliated business disclosures that we have to do on every contract. That contract can now be used as compensation for one of those that we just have to disclose we are being compensated for something else. I'm only telling you what I think can happen in the future. This bill with the language that's being used right now can go in to sit down and say, I'm going to get compensated for using a certain title company. I'm going to get compensated for using something else. That's why I think the wording of compensation versus commission, there are a couple different packages where people can sit down and get a flat fee. That's a different thing. If I can get off the amendment, I'll stay on the amendment right there for that, but I do have other comments about the bill.
That's fine.
Do you want me to continue?
No, not God. No, we're still on the amendment. So we have an amendment. Obviously, the process is you need to get a second, then we need to vote on the amendment, and then we can discuss the bill as amended or as not amended.
Okay. I move the amendment.
We need a second.
Also, the amendment purposes of conversation.
I was gonna say, I know Fisher's an agent of chaos. I'm surprised he didn't jump in, but okay. So what we're gonna do now, we're voting on the amendment. Does everybody understand what the amendment does?
Can you tell me what the amendment does one more time?
Since you seconded it, yes.
Yep.
Go ahead, Delegate Arentz.
Do you want me to tell you? All it does is take the words in the bill. It states that they're going to strike the word compensation and substitute it for commission. And again, in my opinion, the bill is about paying commissions, not paying compensation.
And I believe the Delegate Crosby's point, the vice chair, is that we were just trying to find a way to pick a word that was, because commission is also used for other things. And compensation would definitely encompass commission. I think what Delegate Arentz is saying is commission may not necessarily encompass compensation. Is that correct?
Yes.
So there's other monies.
Compensation. There could be other compensations.
So there's other monies you're getting that you don't want to disclose.
I could get.
Gotcha.
I don't say I'm getting.
You just don't want anybody knowing about it. Got it.
No.
Okay, so does everybody understand the amendment? Okay, seeing no questions, Delegate Arentz, I suppose your hands is up by accident. Are we good? I'll wait. You gotta unmute first, buddy.
I have more to say about the bill.
Yes, but we're just on the amendment. That's great. You can keep your hand up then. All right, so on the amendment, Mr. Vice Chair,
No.
Delegate Brooks,
No.
Delegate Fisher,
No.
Delegate Queen,
No.
Delegate Turner,
No.
Delegate Rogers,
No.
Delegate Harrison,
1 second, Crystal.
No.
Delegate Jackson,
No.
Delegate Pippy,
Sure.
Delegate Mouts,
No.
Delegate Carey,
No.
Delegate Napolaria,
No. Yeah, I mean, no, yes, I'm a yes. I'm a yes. I'm sorry.
okay, Delegate Branch, Talmadge,
You got to unmute, Mr. Webb.
No, no,
Delegate Valderrama,
No, Stone Cold.
Delegate Walker,
No.
Delegate Chi,
No.
Delegate Adams,
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
I'll be a yes.
There you go. Delegate Fennell,
No.
Delegate Charkoudian,
No.
Delegate Howard,
Yes.
Delegate Watson.
No.
Missed it by a gnat's wing. All right, so that amendment fails. Now we're on the bill unamended.
Move the bill. Second.
Okay, discussion on the bill unamended.
Delegate Aaron's.
Delegate Aaron's.
Yeah, thank you. The other thing I sit back and tell you is that on this bill, it's going to say it's the broker's decision to do this. If the broker is making the decisions for the agents, I think you'll see in the long term for the agents, this could be a bad bill for any agent, because if they refuse, they don't want their commission structure being put out to a title company or whatever, they're going to have to look for another job. I think by keeping my personal and my private entity with me and my broker, I think that's a safer place, because I'm not asking any one of you how much money you make and how you're making it. And this bill, the way it's set up, will expose that to people. And for that reason, I oppose the bill.
Delegate Aaron's, I do, definitely respect you. I think the problem we all have here is the realtors in general are supporting this bill, which makes it very, I would respect, we know you're a subject matter expert on this, but we also have conflicting information coming from your organization. So I think that's where people are kind of stymied.
And I do see that, except that in my world where I represent District 36, I have several brokers that have contacted me saying no, 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 no. And when I ask the question, we have a select group that Maryland Association of Realtors deals with. Mr. Chair, I won't press it, but my world is different than their world over there.
Yes, sir.
But I just think this is opening up something that in the long run could be harmful to the agents. It's going to expose the brokers to a little bit less responsibility. And it's going to also expose my relationship with my broker. I'm done saying. You can vote on the bill.
I appreciate the conversation. Ready to move. Delegate Branch.
yeah, Delegate Aaron's, is this not true that this is common everyday practice?
No, sir, it's not.
Huh?
It is not true. It has been done, and the people have done it. It is not the common. It is not the standard way we do business today, as far as a broker agent relationship with their title company. That there are people that have done it, have been doing it. There are cases where it's worked out well. There's cases where people just said, I don't want to do that for the reasons I'm stating, that their comments were that, you know what, I do not need you knowing what I make and what my deal with my broker is. And again, it is not as common as it's been alluded to.
And
It has
the
been done.
Board of Realtors, those guys who are your leaders, who are always down here on numerous issues, and sometimes controls the direction of legislation based on what they say. Why isn't how come your guys haven't mentioned it to them in order to relay it to us here if it's that much of an issue?
I can't answer that question other than they're relaying it to me, and I'm not sure whether they're soliciting the people. MAR has their group of people that they actually use for their baseline to where they drop their legislation. And I'm not saying they're 100% wrong. I'm just saying I think this bill opens us up to some things that I don't think all agents, and again, it is what I want to use it. If I want to use it, I can opt in or opt out of this. However, if a title company starts sitting back saying, I'm only going to do business this way, I think that's a danger to the agent.
But I'm glad you mentioned that. So you don't have to use them. You can opt to use them or opt out to use them, right?
Yes, right. If the broker opts in, though, I think you're set. The broker will push you to use them. It's the broker's decision, as I understand it, not the agent's.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank
And
you.
again, colleagues, if you feel the need on second reader to step up or try to make an amendment, I would appreciate any information from the colleagues across the aisle. If you feel like you have to battle the committee on third reader, I understand as well, but please make sure you kind of give me a heads up when you can. Okay, guys? So we're going to get started with the vote. I believe has the bill been moved and seconded?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Delegate Crosby,
Aye.
Delegate Brooks,
Aye.
Delegate Fisher,
Yes.
Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Harrison,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yep.
Delegate Pippy,
Yes.
Delegate Mounts,
Yes.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Valeria, Rick, Delegate Valeria, you're not on mute, buddy.
No, okay, I'm not. All right. What did Pippi just do?
Usually do the opposite. He did yes. You going
Okay,
no?
then I'm going yes.
Okay. Delegate Branch,
I'm gonna do what Impalaria did. Yes.
Delegate Valderrama,
Aye.
Delegate Walker,
On this one, I think I need to pass. I want to pass, excuse myself.
Excused?
Yes.
Okay. Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Adams,
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's,
I'm probably going to get excused on this one too. It's my business. Thank you.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
Yes.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Bill passes. Well, that went smoothly. Next, we have House Bill 667.
Yes, this bill is a Hartford County Alcoholic Beverages Bill that repeals the requirement that a restaurant applying for a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license must be in full-time operation at least 6 months immediately prior to applying for the license. And there's one amendment to make it a delegation bill. There was no opposition.
Amendment.
Second.
On the amendment, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none. Talmadge, you have a question on the bill?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Move
that's
the bill as
fine. bro.
amended.
Okay.
I'm still getting used to these electronics. I'm sorry.
Speaking of electronics, can you hold off for just a minute? I'm having trouble with the vote system.
No worries. I will say in the meantime that this bill would have normally been on the regular alcohol groups, but apparently when you're rude to the attorneys, things can get delayed. So anybody who's listening, be kind to my counsel because things get lost in the sauce fairly easily. They work hard. You got to be nice to them. Make sure that your people are being nice to their people as well. It always works better for everyone. Johnny Motz, you have a question?
Yeah, which bill is this, Chairman?
I was going to surprise you, but it's 667. And just
A minute, sir.
waiting for the reboot on the iPads, I guess, for the vote count guys. So be
Yes, sir.
patient.
Okay, so this is 568. I'm getting that all correct, and that was with an excused and an excused. Save. Let me see, that was favorable, saved. Good. Now this is 667.
Correct.
We roll with amendment.
Yes, we
Okay.
the amendment was good.
Yep.
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Delegate Crosby,
Aye.
Delegate Brooks,
Aye.
Delegate Fisher,
Yes.
Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Harrison,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yep.
Delegate Pippy,
Yes.
Delegate Mounts,
Yes.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Valeria,
Yes.
Delegate Branch,
Yes.
Delegate Valderrama, Delegate Valderrama.
I said aye.
Aye,
Aye.
I just
Can't
want to
hear you, Chris.
We can barely
I'm
hear
not
you.
muted. I'm not muted.
I know, but your computer's either far away, but you're not picking up, so your microphone might be turned down, but we can barely hear you. Okay. Delegate Walker,
Yes.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Look at Adams.
Yes.
Look at Ants.
Yes.
Look at Fennell.
Yes.
Look at Charkoudian.
Yes.
Look at Howard.
Yes.
Look at Watson.
Yes.
Standing. Next bill, please. House Bill-
866.
House Bill
Oh, I thought we had another one. I'm sorry.
719. Should be House Bill 719.
No, 719 is being held, sir.
Okay, 866.
Okay, 866 it is.
Yeah, 866 regulates the use of genetic data by direct-to-consumer genetic testing companies. Specifically, the bill requires these companies to provide consumers with information regarding the company's policies and procedures, obtain specified types of consent for the consumer prior to collecting, using, and disclosing the consumer's genetic data, and develop and implement policies and procedures to protect genetic data, including policies related to the disclosure of genetic data to law enforcement or other government agencies. There are 2 amendments to this bill. The first amendment alters the type of service user consent required for a direct-to-consumer or publicly available open data personal genomics databases that is used to conduct forensic genetic genealogical DNA analysis. And the second amendment alters the definition of direct consumer genetic testing company and genetic data, strikes institutions of higher education from the list of organization the bill does not apply to, and adds an entity offering disability insurance to the list of entities that may not disclose a consumer's genetic data without the consumer's written consent.
Move the amendments.
Second.
On the amendment, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
Move the bill as amended.
Yeah, I had a
Oh.
question. Did I hear correctly that you were striking what when it comes to education, public education, kids? I heard something along that line.
No, it's, so the bill as it came in struck institutions of higher education from complying with the list, or complying with the bill. But there are a lot of different types of institutions of higher education, including private institutions of higher education that have no research purposes. So that's just stricken from the bill.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Move the bill as amended. Oh, sorry.
I think there's another question.
Is this, does this tie into the issue with Henrietta Lacks?
About them taking, no, that this is about genetic consumer. I mean, I guess maybe down the lines it does, but this is about like Ancestry and 23andMe. So people, you know, these organizations that you are giving your genetic information to, it ties in with that. It's not about research taking people's cells and not giving them credit or paying for them.
Okay, thank you.
Delegate Fisher.
Yeah, I guess we're on the bill now because I think we just moved the amendment. So on the bill, I was curious, what is current law as it relates to the use of?
This?
Yes.
So for direct-to-consumer genetic testing companies, there is no law regulating what they can use, collect, or anything. They are subject, I think, to MPIPA, which is the Maryland Personal Information Protection Act, which basically just says that if there is a breach, you have to, we went over this a couple of weeks ago, but you know, if there is a breach, then you have to notify people in a certain amount of time and you have to reasonably protect the information. But there's nothing on the books right now that regulates this.
I mean, I don't know if this is possible, Mr. Chairman, but this is a pretty important bill and important bill in that I would like to actually read it with the amendments, because in as much as it may be regulating, it may also be authorizing. And I was just hoping we could hold it just for one day. I'm not trying to kill the bill. I'm trying to learn what the bill actually does with these amendments. That's all I'm trying to do.
Again, I'm just worried about the timing of bills like this being moved.
I understand.
I'm trying to think out loud, guys. Give me a second. So today is Wednesday. We won't hear these bills, even if we report them out today. Friday, Bob, if we're lucky for second reader?
That would depend.
What do you think, Tiffany? I see you shaking your head.
If you would like to report it tomorrow, you can report it tomorrow, but.
Right, but I'm talking about when we'd actually have the hearing. My worry is I don't want to run up on having something that you do believe is complex on signing die. And as I told you, Delegate Fisher, if you do feel the need to amend it, or try to amend it on second reader, I would understand. I'm sorry, we're trying to move these as fast as we can, bud.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I appreciate it. I get it. Thank you.
Tiffany, you look like you had something to say.
No, I'm done.
Okay. All right. So
Move the bills amended.
do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, as amended, Delegate Crosby,
Aye.
Delegate Brooks,
Aye.
Delegate Fisher,
No.
Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Harrison,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yes.
Delegate Pippy,
No.
Delegate Mounts,
No.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Valeria,
No.
Branch.
Aye.
Somebody's give me some reverb. Jay Walker, that's you, buddy. Thank you. Delegate Valderrama,
Aye.
Delegate Walker,
Yes.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Adams,
No, sorry.
Delegate Aaron's,
No.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
Yes.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
All right, bill passes. Next bill, please.
The next bill is House Bill 955, and it's been withdrawn.
Okay. Next bill, please.
House Bill 90.
Well, quickly, Mr. Chair, move unfavorable withdrawn.
Thank you.
For House Bill, I'm sorry,
House Bill 955, move unfavorable withdrawn.
I apologize. That's correct. Any opposition to the unfavorable withdrawn? None, Bob.
Thank you.
All right. House Bill 984.
Yes, this bill establishes the Maryland State Bank Task Force to review and evaluate the creation of a Maryland State Bank. Task Force must report its findings on or before December 1st, 2022. There are no amendments to this bill.
Move unfavorable.
Second.
Okay, guys, any discussion? None? No questions?
Delegate Queen.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I am very supportive of the idea of exploring a state bank and exploring the parts of the state that aren't well served, not even just by brick and mortar, but just by the banking as it currently stands. I think you had said that it was the task force aspect of this that you had concerns about. And so if we
That's
can,
what I just wanted to remind people. It was more along the lines of creating what I don't want to do is be misleading to people and try to create a task force during an election year where nobody's going to be doing anything. We're all going to be running for reelection, redesigning the committees. So it really would have zero impact this year. It would almost like we'd have to do it again next year. Because I don't believe the idea, like you said, doing the investigation may not be the worst idea. Looking into it may not be the worst idea. At worst, we'll find out we don't need it. However, it is beyond superfluous to do it at this time, especially with our continually moving primary date and general date. Nobody knows when the election is going to happen or who's going to win and who's not, what the map's going to look like. So I really believe that it would be quite superfluous to do it at this time as far as a task force. Which is why generally we don't do any task force during an election year.
thank you, Mr. Chair. I just hope that we can definitely move this forward next year because I think it's really important. So I appreciate that clarification.
Thank you. Delegate Queen.
Well, I think my comments were similar to Delegate Charkoudian's, and maybe if we can't do this this year, that maybe we make it more of a study of the issues so we don't get hung up with the creation of a bank maybe being a stumbling point.
And honestly, I hope that we'll all be back next year because I do believe that that's a proper way of addressing this instead of naming it a state bank, which automatically polarizes people. I think actually doing something to study the issues that we're exposing here would be more to the point that everybody could agree on. So that is something hopefully we'll keep in mind. It'd be a great bill for you next year, Pam. Thank you.
If I'm back.
Yes, assuming that some of us could come back, correct.
I'm out. Deuces.
That me?
That's you.
Yeah, I did explain to her, this is my district mate. So I did explain to her kind of where the committee was coming from with this. She totally understood. So she said that she would, she's disappointed, of course, but she'll try and submit it again next year.
There we go. And please also discuss with her what Delegate Queen said, because I think the naming of it, everybody falls in love with the word state bank, but it really is the issues that are being raised that are more important and obviously may actually get more traction than just saying we need a state bank. And I think that we could all benefit from the study. So, all right. I think the motion was unfavorable. Was it seconded?
Second.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay.
Yeah, I seconded it.
Oh, apologize. Thank you. Or Delegate Crosby on the unfavorable.
Aye.
Delegate Brooks.
Aye.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Harrison.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Mouts.
Yes.
Delegate Carey.
Yes.
Delegate Valeria.
Yes.
Delegate Branch.
No.
You're the worst.
Seatmate.
Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Walker.
No, because I won't be here to vote for the bill next year. So no.
Okay. Delegate Chi.
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
Yes, because I'm going to be here to vote for the bill next year.
Delegate
We're on the
Aaron.
bill.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
Aye, on the unfavorable.
Delegate Watson.
No.
Ugh. All right, bill moves unfavorable. Next bill, please.
Okay, House Bill 994, Public Utilities, Underground Facilities, One Call System from Delegate Brooks. There is a small amendment in your packet. This is the bill that deals with setting up a service window for marking under Miss Utility. The amendment changes from 2 to 3 days. The start of the window, which is still ends in 12 days after the request to make a marking, makes a couple of technical changes.
Move the amendment.
Second.
On the amendment, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing no
Move the bills,
opposition.
move the bills amended.
Second.
On the bills amended, any discussion? Seeing none. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Brooks.
Aye.
Delegate Fisher.
Recused.
Stay. Delegate Queen.
No, that's excused. Yep.
Excuse, apologize. Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Harrison.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Mouts.
Yes.
Delegate Carey.
Yes.
Delegate Valeria.
Yes.
Delegate Branch.
Yep.
Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Walker.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Ernst.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Bill passes. Next bill.
House Bill 998 from Delegate Carey. This is the Human Services Silver Energy Savers Program and Energy Assistance Fund. There is an amendment in your packet. The amendment does two things. Where the bill came in to require DHS and its DSS offices to contract with a third party. This instead goes to changes it over specifically to 211 Maryland as the contracted body, and also changes it from a one-time 2024 $200,000 appropriation to an annual appropriation of $200K starting in 2024.
Move the amendment.
Second.
The amendments, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, seeing none on the bill as amended, we have questions. Delegate Harrison.
Yes, just a quick question. So 211 Maryland, I know in Prince George's County anyway, our 211 system is primarily for domestic violence victims. How is this going to be different? Can you explain how this works for me, please? The 211?
So Delegate, this is Delegate Carey. So what they would do is they'll put a person in the 211 center to answer those calls for these seniors who are seeking assistance for energy assistance. And they've agreed to do that.
Okay. And that's fine. I just think that, it could be a little confusing because one of the things that we have tried to do is to push those individuals who are having those domestic violence issues to 211. And it just seems kind of interesting to put those two together. Thank you.
Delegate Howard.
Is this still got the 1.5, well, 1.3 now, probably 1.5 since it's an annual $200,000 for the fiscal note, Bob?
The intention is no, because my understanding is that the note was based on the idea of placing full-time equivalents all across the state. And this instead changes it to be a single annual appropriation of $200,000. So that would take the fiscal note down it should be 200,000.
Okay, thank you.
Delegate Carey may have a different additional information, but that was
that'd be great.
That was the intent.
Okay,
That's correct, Bob.
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Okay. As amended, Delegate Crosby,
Aye.
Delegate Brooks,
Aye.
Delegate Fisher,
No.
Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Harrison.
I'm going to vote yes, but I just want to register my concern because I would be concerned that a domestic violence, someone who's experiencing domestic violence might be confused or may not get the help they need if there is an idea that this is only for seniors seeking assistance and for energy saving.
Okay. Delegate Jackson,
Yes.
Delegate Pepe,
No.
Delegate Mounts,
No.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Valeria,
No.
Delegate Branch,
Aye.
Valderrama,
Aye.
Delegate Walker,
Yes.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Adams,
No.
Delegate Aaron's,
No.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
yes.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Party line vote. Bill
Not
passed.
quite. Yep.
not
No,
quite,
Delegate
Bob.
Howard voted for it.
Yeah, for, old people
Yeah.
getting energy assistance and access to it.
That's
But I
right,
would
I
just
apologize.
ask Ned and I know each other, just if there's amendments out there, just please be open-minded about them. Because I think what Delegate Harrison said was absolutely correct, but I don't want perfect to be the enemy of the good. So just,
Well, I'll just point out that the critical medical needs program is already being housed inside of 211. So they're already doing this. So
It's just
okay.
ensuring it continues to be done correctly throughout the state the same way.
Thanks, Ned. Thanks, everybody.
All right, next bill.
Is House Bill 1123. This bill establishes a Class L beer, wine, and liquor license in Worcester County and authorizes the County Board of License Commissioners to issue the license to the holder of a manufacturer's license. It authorizes the holder for on-premises consumption to sell beer, wine, and liquor produced by the holder or another holder of a manufacturer's license and provide a sample of the beer, wine, or liquor at no cost.
Move on
There-
favorable. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say there are no amendments.
All right, go ahead, Delegate Brooks.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. So this means that a manufacturer is going to be operating in the space of a bar, a retailer. They're going to be selling beer, wine, and liquor.
I believe that's the correct
Pretty
assessment.
much.
Yeah.
There lies the issue.
Okay. All right.
Okay. There was a
Thank you.
motion, there was a move to unfavorable. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, on the unfavorable, Delegate Crosby,
Aye.
Delegate Brooks,
Aye.
Delegate Fisher,
Yes.
Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Harrison,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yes.
Delegate Pepe,
Yes.
Delegate Mounts,
Yes.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Palaria,
Yes.
Delegate Branch,
Yep.
Delegate Valderrama,
Aye.
Delegate Walker,
Yes.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Adams,
Yes.
Delegate Ants,
Yes.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
Aye.
Delegate Watson. Delegate Watson,
Yes. Yes.
thank you. Next bill,
House Bill 1238 requires a place of public accommodation that controls, operate, owns, or leases at least 2 motion picture houses in the state to provide open captioning for each motion picture it screens each week for at least 1 screening during the weekday and 1 screening during the weekend. It also requires motion picture houses to have fully operational and well-maintained closed captioning technology for general public viewing. There's 1 amendment to the bill, and it adds a sponsor to the bill.
okay, I believe there is an amendment. Johnny Mouts?
Hey, Chairman,
Yeah,
we're on that bill.
yes, we are. You get to
Thank
be the
you.
villain. I see we do have some questions, but I wanted to give Johnny a chance to offer his amendment.
Thank you.
And Madam Counsel, did you get a chance to see the amendment?
No,
Oh, Christ.
You don't have the amendment?
no, sir.
Yeah, that's gonna be a problem to offer it then. Yeah, I think I'm gonna hold the amendment then. I'm not gonna offer it if you haven't gotten it at the committee yet.
Well, I told him I would give him a fair hearing. Basically, to my knowledge, what the amendment was going to do was the amendment was going to drop it from 1 and 1. Correct, Johnny?
Correct.
And basically, it was somewhat mirroring what happened in Hawaii.
Yeah, somewhat mirroring what happened in Hawaii.
It's an important amendment. It was one I told him I would give them a fair discussion on it. I don't know why they didn't get it to council. I'm a little bit confused because that makes it a lot more difficult for us to, and we can depend, Johnny, you're an attorney, you got it.
Here we go. Let me give it a whirl. Yeah, so now I guess everybody, this amendment hasn't been circulated to all the members on the committee.
No. So most likely, go ahead, Johnny, just give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so the amendment, if I'm sure the amendment makes 2 changes to the bill. Primarily on page 1, it will strike the words or motion picture and on line 18, and then on line 19 it will strike the words or a motion picture screen. So it removes those two references. And then on page 2, on line 19 through line 22, it will strike the language and insert the words comply with 28 CFR part 36, which would cross-reference the Code of Federal Regulations. And then on line 25, which through line 29, which is the part of the bill that's of the most interest, it would insert the following: a screening with open captioning at least once during a weekday and once during the weekend for each motion picture that is produced and available in open captioning, number 1. Number 2, shown at a location with at least 8 motion picture screens, that's a significant change from the bill, and shown at least twice per day during the entire Friday through Thursday play week.
Real quick, Mr. Chair, hey, Delegate Mounts, can you send it to my office and we'll get it to everybody ASAP?
Yes.
Mr. Vice Chair, you say we should just try to hold it to the end of this set of hearings?
Yeah, I think that's fair, Mr. Chair. I mean, you talked about giving it a fair hearing. I'll make sure we get it. I'll get it to council, and then I'll get it to every member in the committee. So we're not sitting here trying to like have a bill and look at line 27 and figure out what the
I
heck
don't
is going
disagree.
on.
That's actually a good point. Thank you for utilizing the technology. So, so I will go ahead and we'll pass this for now. We'll come back around on this one. Do you guys want to ask the questions now, or would you like to wait? I see 3 people with their hands up.
I can wait.
Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
I'll wait. My questions is on the amendments. I do
Okay.
have them.
Okay, you do have the amendments?
Yes.
Okay. Delegate Chi?
I could let the delegate speak first about his amendment.
Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and let him circulate. We'll skip that. We'll come back around to this one. Let's move on to House Bill 1285.
House Bill 1285, Maryland Electricians Act revisions. This bill alters the Maryland Electricians Act by requiring the State Board of Electricians to credit successful completion of specified apprenticeship programs toward the experience required for licensure as a master electrician or journeyperson electrician, modifying the examination requirement for applicants for a journeyperson electrician license, and altering general liability and property insurance requirements for licensees employed by another licensee who maintains the required coverage. There were amendments in your packet. The first one is just technical and conforms to purpose paragraph. Amendment number 2 removes the exemption to maintain the insurance for a licensee employed by an individual who maintains insurance coverage and requires an applicant for a local permit to hold a state license and show proof of insurance.
Move the amendment.
Second.
All right. On the amendments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Move the bill as
Any
amended.
opposition?
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Thank you very much. Delegate Crosby,
Mr. Chair, Delegate Adams had a question.
I apologize. I didn't see your hand up there, Chris.
So this bill was a tough bill last year. Does this solve all the problems from your seat, Mr. Chairman, on the bill from last year?
All of them and more. No, I mean, I think the ones that we could address, we were able to address. I'm not saying there won't be some more next year. However, as we're moving forward, and it's painful to try to do the right thing. So this does solve a great deal of the problems that were brought to my attention.
Thank you. Good.
Are any other questions? Seeing none. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Brooks.
Aye.
Delegate Fisher.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Harrison.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Mounts. Johnny Mounts.
Yes, yes.
Delegate Carey.
Yes.
Delegate Napolaria.
Yes.
Delegate Branch.
Yep.
Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Walker.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Okay, guys, now we're going to circle back around. Tiffany, are you still reading the other amendments? Would you like me to do family medical leave while you're digesting those amendments?
Family medical leave is Erica. I'm biometric.
No, I know, but the amendments for the theater bill, I didn't know if you want to digest those while we did family medical leave to give you a little break.
Sure.
Will you let me know? We can do you
No,
first.
we can do it.
Okay, so we'll do family medical leave because that's the most exciting one, and then we'll come back. Erica, it's your show.
Oh, thank you, sir. So this is the House Bill 496. It establishes, as it came in, establishes the Family and Medical Leave Insurance Program, the Division of Family and Medical Leave Insurance, and the Maryland Department of Labor and the Family Medical Leave Fund to provide up to 12 weeks of benefits to a covered individual taking leave from employment due to specified personal and family circumstances. There are amendments in your packet that mainly strikes the bill and creates a commission that will study and make recommendations regarding the implementation of a family medical leave insurance program. The study will include when contributions should start, the appropriate cost sharing formula, the amount of leave available, oversight, employee eligibility, benefit duration, whether doing an RFP for an outside contractor to handle administration, and any other aspects the commission deems relevant, including using an actuarial study regarding funding levels. The amendment also states the intent of the General Assembly for $25 million to be set aside in the fiscal year 2023 budget to support the commission and establish the program. And it states the intent for the program to be in effect by June 1st, 2023, and benefits begin no later than June 1st, 2024.
Are there any questions on the amendments?
Move the amendments.
Second.
Outstanding.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Let me put my hand up.
You don't have to put your hand up. You can just, okay.
Okay. One more time. You said this bill is going to be a study with the commission. Is that what you said?
We're creating a commission.
You creating a commission.
Yes, and I know that this has been done before in 2016 or 17, I believe, but as I explained yesterday, since then we've had the pandemic and a multitude of other things happen, including we're getting ready to be record inflation as well, gas prices, things of that nature. So we wanted to make sure that we did a viable split, that we knew exactly how much we have in the fund, the number of people it's going to cover, the number of employees it would take for an employer and all that versus just mandating something, because some of that data is outdated considering where we are now in the world. In addition, yes, that's kind of where we are. I met with the advocates yesterday. They understand, and as I've made it very clear, I'll make it very clear again, that there's intent language in the bill that says very specifically that this will happen. It's just a matter of when, and we want to make sure we do it right with all the concerns that we have, knowing what we're asking of the employees and possibly asking of the employers. We want to make sure we get this right, because this is very important, not only to myself and leadership, but also to the speakers. So this isn't kicking the can down the road. This is ensuring that they get the best product. If everybody's going to do this, we want to make sure, as I always say, people don't really trust the government. So we need to make sure we do our damnedest to make them proud of whatever it is they have to do. And in this case, that's what we're doing.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
You're fine.
What was the, can you tell me again, what was the split which you came up with again?
We did not, because the split that the Senate came up with was 80% carried by the employee, 20% carried by the employer. And I don't believe that is a viable split. I think that could be challenging in these very challenging times. So what I would like is a study and an actuarial study, because one of our colleagues brought that up, to ensure the viability of this entire program and the best way to go forward on it. And they would this commission would provide those opportunities for us to see it from multiple angles, multiple splits. So we could then determine what's the best course of action to go. But as you see in the amendments, there are specified timelines on this, as well as money set aside for the implementation process. And to be clear, Erica, we did do something in there about also as part of the commission researching third-party implementation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And effect again is 2023, and the benefits is 2024.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, benefit 2024. Okay. Is there anything else I need to know before I have to face everybody?
Well, again, I've met with the advocates yesterday. I explained to them what we're doing. I showed them the amendments, and there are teeth in the amendments. And this is not dilatory tactics. This is dealing with the times and measures that we're living in right now, currently. As far as gas prices, food prices, things of that nature, we have an ongoing war that we are somehow getting involved in or not. And all those things combined, making sure that when we decide that we're going to take money out of people's paychecks, that we're doing so in a very concise manner, and that they're getting exactly what they pay for. And we can ensure our citizens they're getting the best bang for their buck, that we're not stabbing in the dark, we're not building the plane as it's flying. Delegate Charkoudian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks for your work on it and your comments today. I guess I do think this is one of the most important bills. We've had a lot of really important bills this session. I think this is one of the most important bills in terms of really ensuring both the long-term health of our economy and families and balancing all that. And I just want to make sure I'm reading the amendments, and I just want to make sure I'm clear on where it is that we are clearly, I've heard you say several times this is different from a study because it's a commission establishing the direction we're headed in. And I
And
just
we're
want to make
setting
sure,
money aside specifically for this.
so it's 25 million that we're putting as like a down payment on the fund, is that right?
Well, that's how much we believe it would cost to get this thing started.
Got it.
As far as staff, things of that nature.
Oh, so that's for the administration as opposed to a down payment on the fund itself?
Exactly. That's not, oh yeah, that's why we're still gonna have to starting date of collections,
Got it.
then a date for implementation, because we have to still build the fund. That's not a starting program. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to start day one and start drawing down on this fund when you've only paid in a week.
I understand. Yes, thank you. I got that part. Can you just then, so we're all on the same page, point me to the place where we are making a clear commitment that this is going to happen? How this is different from a study. I'm just trying to find it in the amendments. I think you said we're doing it, and I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Erica, could you point it to the date language, please?
Well, actually, sir, I'll start if you are on page 6 of the amendments. It's the statutory framework establishing a family medical leave and insurance program in the state shall. And then it gives a list of items that that are required to be done. And that in that list includes, using the findings and recommendations that is going to be effective no later than June 1st, 2023, enabling individuals to receive the benefits under the program by June 1st, 2024. So all of that is required.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And I understand that we've been getting a lot of calls and pressures. I've tried my best to alleviate those by meeting with these individuals. And although we are the ones who press the button, I try to remind people we're the ones ultimately responsible. I have met with the advocates on this because I don't want my colleagues to be under any undue duress or pressure in deciding this. Again, we have done everything in our power. I've been obviously working with the speaker's people since July on this for the timing, making sure that we do this in a way that we can get it done. Delegate Watson.
So what I hear you saying is that essentially it's just not feasible for us to get this up and running on the dates that the bill originally anticipated. Is that?
Yes, because there's a lot more questions that are raised, like even the enforcement mechanism. So knowing all that, rushing into it just to be doing it, it's not feasible. And I'm afraid that the system itself would fail.
Right. So you want to make sure that we're doing it right from the get-go.
Correct. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Okay.
Again, to everybody listening, these are not dilatory tactics. This is something I believe in. This is something the speaker believes in. We just want to make sure that it is done correctly. We don't want to be trying to fix things halfway through because, as you know, there's a lot of damage done. And when we're going to take some money out of somebody's pockets, when we're asking them to trust us enough to take some of their paycheck, then I want to make sure that we have a program that we can be proud of and explain to them, each and every one of them, from the lowest to the highest wage earners, what we're doing for them and that it is going to work. Not that we're guessing and hoping and telling them what happened in New York or DC or some other state, but what's going to happen right here in Maryland, because that's important.
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
And was it made clear that we changed the sponsor of the bill?
Yes, sir, that is definitely in the amendments. There is the new sponsor was switched from Wilson Valderrama to Valderrama Wilson.
Yes, so Delegate Chi.
I'm sorry if I missed anything, but I did not hear mention of my offered amendment to add the Retailers Association to this commission.
Thank you, Delegate Chi, for that. Yes, Delegate Chi also had the amendment to add the Maryland Retailers Association.
Oh, I don't believe we've discussed that amendment. That was, we can move that separately because we've already moved the other amendments.
So, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Do I need to withdraw my motion?
As far as moving as amended?
Yeah, I move the bill as amended.
Yes, please do.
So I'll withdraw my motion to move the bill as amended.
So now we're back on discussion of the amendments. Hold on, Delegate Turner.
I just wanted to make sure, since you changed to Delegate Valderrama / Wilson, am I on this bill? I'm on this bill, Anna. Is my name on this bill? Yes.
I believe there were only 3 names on the bill at the time.
As
But I
House
could
Bill,
be-
I was just gonna say, as House Bill 496 came in, it originally came in as Wilson, Valderrama, and Kelly, and we've switched the first spot to Valderrama.
So obviously, if we could add members, if they so would like to be added onto this.
Well, I would like to be added on, Mr. Chairman.
And I need you to understand the very important reason that we did not add people on that may have been on Chris Valderrama's original bill was because we dramatically changed it. And I could not assume that you, although you wanted that program, that you would still want a commission, which is why we didn't assume anybody else would want to be on the bill.
Wait a minute, let me think. Wait a minute, hold up 1 second. I really don't want the commission.
There's I got you, but I tried to explain my very reason and rationale for it.
I understand. I'm just letting you know that I do not like the commission. I understand why you say we have to have it. I just wanted on the record, I do not like commission.
Then you don't have to be on the bill, ma'am. I get it. That's why we didn't put anybody on the bill.
That's fine with me.
Are you fine?
I'm fine.
But that's why I didn't want to put you in an awkward situation by assuming that you wanted to be on this one, because some people, but as I explained, this is being done in good faith. The commission is being done in good faith, as I've explained to the advocates a multitude of times.
Okay, I got you.
Now, we have an amendment, Delegate Chi.
Is that voting for the amendment?
You have an amendment. You just spoke.
Yes. Are we voting on the amendment?
Once you tell us what it is.
Oh, okay. It simply adds the Maryland Retailers Association to this proposed commission as requested.
All right, is there any conversation?
How's that hurt?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. I didn't realize my mic was all. I was thinking, how does that hurt?
That's why I'm leaving it up to you guys.
I mean, I'll second, I guess, is that a motion, Delegate Chi?
Sure.
Okay, I'll second.
On the motion,
No, on the amendment, quick question on the amendment. What's the rationale for adding the retailers to this commission?
Yeah, because they are an integral part of our local economy. They represent a lot of small businesses. And this bill would have a pretty significant impact on their members.
Right. Is NFIB on the commission?
I don't.
Any other business entities?
The Chamber of Commerce is the National Federation of Independent Business. Yes.
Okay.
The Chamber of Commerce. Yes.
I agree with the rationale. I just wanted to verify that. Thank you.
Yeah, and the retail business is different from any other small businesses. There's uniqueness to how they are.
I'll speak in favor of the amendment and support it. Thank you.
Delegate Valderrama.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you, first of all. Also, I know you met with the advocates. I know they had mentioned that when they looked at the composition of the commission, that they felt there was more business type, which is fine, that there are business folks on there, including the retailers. But I know they expressed like the nonprofit sector and those who care for families and such. Was that discussed in your meeting?
I believe a lot of things were discussed. I told them this is still a work in progress, and also to be very clear, like I said, because my worry is we could literally go all day adding people that we all think should be on the work group, which is why I shied away from adding any extras. But go ahead, Delegate Charkoudian. I'm sorry, Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Charkoudian.
No, it was a similar comment. I mean, I think, people with experience caregiving would be people I would want to add, people with experience with, veterans returning from, an injury. I mean, I think there's a lot of experiences to add if we're trying to consider everyone who's impacted by this. So
if we do that, I don't know if we could capture everyone. That was why I was trying to keep it a tailored group.
So I would stick with leaving it as it is.
Which is also why I wasn't so pressed on putting the retailers on, because it's fairly business heavy as
I agree.
It appears.
I absolutely
and wanting to make sure there's a balance. Now, I will say this lastly, colleagues, when it comes right back down to it, those of us that God blesses to return, we will not be obligated by what the commission says. They're here, they are information. They're here to do the investigation that we ask them to do. If we feel that is leaning too business heavy or too employee heavy, too labor heavy, we will have that opportunity and option to discuss how we will best move forward. This is not obliging us to do anything. If we feel somebody was underrepresented, or if the homeless veterans weren't represented and Doug Charkoudian has an idea for them, we will still have every one of those opportunities to have our input, because we're the ones hitting the button, not anybody on this commission. So please don't feel that we're ultimately beholden to any and everything that comes out. This is just for our information and knowledge so we can move forward next year with alacrity, determination, and in the right direction. Doug and Howard.
So, veterans were mentioned. I'm a veteran, and I would just say that small businesses are the engine of the economy. They hire 70% of the jobs. They do it locally, and that includes these people that are in need and will be directly affected both positively and negatively by this bill. And they're largely represented by the Maryland Retailer Association. I think it's a good addition. I think it's a voice for smaller retailers. I agree with Delegate Shi. I think it's a voice for smaller retailers in the state. And all that in the round, and in turn, those employers are the ones that hire some of the groups that we just discussed. So I think they absolutely have a place at the table, and I would be supporting the amendment.
There you go. Is there anybody else on the amendment before we take the vote? It was seconded by by Vice Chair. Okay, so I guess we are ready to vote on the amendment to include the retailers. Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Mr. Brooks, Delegate Brooks.
Aye.
Delegate Fisher.
Is this on the amendment?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Yes,
Are you sure, Delegate Turner?
you said you're adding the
Retailers.
retailers.
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Are you sure you're a yes?
yes,
Okay. Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Harrison.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Mounts.
Yes.
Delegate Carey.
Yes.
Delegate Valeria.
Yes.
Delegate Branch.
Yes.
Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Walker.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Aaron's.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian.
No.
Delegate Howard.
Absolutely, yes.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Okay, the amendment passes. On the bill as amended, do we have any discussion?
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Okay, is it the same votes for the amendment? We'll go with Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Brooks.
Aye.
Delegate Fisher.
No.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
yes,
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Harrison.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Is this on the bill?
This is
Yes.
on
As
the
amended?
bill as amended.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Delegate Pippy.
No.
Delegate Mounts.
No.
Delegate Carey.
Yes.
Delegate Valeria.
No.
Delegate Branch.
Yes.
Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Walker.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
I'm voting with Rick.
Outstanding. Delegate Aaron's.
I'll do what Adams did.
Outstanding. Delegate Fennell.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
No.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
All right, this bill passes with amendments, including the last one. All right, we're now on House Bill 259.
Okay, so House Bill 259, the subcommittee took this up earlier this week and recommended a favorable with amendments, disposition. The bill generally regulates the use of biometric data by private entities. More specifically, the bill is introduced, requires a private entity in possession of biometric identifiers to develop a policy establishing a retention schedule and destruction guidelines. The policy has to be made available to the public. It requires a private entity to disclose certain information relating to biometric identifiers to an individual free of charge. Prohibits a private entity from selling, leasing, trading, or otherwise profiting from an individual's biometric identifiers. prohibits a private entity from collecting, using, disclosing, or otherwise disseminating biometric identifiers without consent. Prohibits a private entity that contracts with a processor from allowing the processor to do anything other than what they were contracted to do with biometric data. And it authorized an individual alleging a violation of the bill to bring a civil action against the offending party. As I said, the subcommittee adopted a number of amendments. And if you would like, I'll just go over generally what the bill does, and if anybody has any questions, or what the amendments do, and if anybody has any questions, we can go a little further. But amendment number 2 strikes a definition for biometric data. Biometric identifier, and substitute it with biometric data. It strikes the definition of personal information. It adds a definition for consent and strikes a definition for written consent. And it also adds a definition for cell. The amendments also alter the time period that a private entity must permanently destroy biometric data from 1 year to 1 year of last interaction to 3 years of last interaction. It strikes certain language prohibiting a private entity from otherwise profiting from biometric data. It alters various situations when a private entity does not have to obtain consent, a certain type of consent, before collecting, using, or disseminating biometric data. And it provides that an entity may not be required to provide an individual with certain information more than twice in a consecutive 12-month period. And finally, the amendments alter the penalties for a violation of the bill, taking it from a private right of action to making a violation an unfair, abusive, or deceptive trade practice, and allows for a private right of action only if a private entity sells, leases, or trades biometric data.
Move the amendment.
Second.
On the amendments, all in favor, say aye.
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 The opposition? Or discussion on the bill, Chris Adams?
Mr. Chairman, this bill would be just as awesome without the private right of action.
And I'll say this, Chris, I thought about this and tried to work it out. However, the private right of action is only for people who are caught selling your biometric data. I narrowed it down to as much as I can. It was really hard for me to move it any further away from that because of the fact they're selling your data. Because I'm with you, I normally move away from, and I've instructed counsel when we can to move away from private rights of action. It's just that one is somewhat patently offensive, but I did my best. Delegate Fisher.
Is the government exempt from the bill?
Yes, a private entity is defined as, so yes, I don't know if you heard me say yes. But,
yes, it is.
So the
you want me
government
to
can
read
do,
the definition of private entity?
so the government can do whatever it wants.
That's why they call us the government.
Okay, then.
No, but when this bill was definitely obviously dealing with the issues of private industry and private entity utilizing your biometric data for their own benefit, financial gain. Delegate Polari.
Yeah, it 100% sounds like federal law. And I have to tell you, 20 years ago, I would have never dreamed of ever a bill like this coming before us. The world's changed. So, but this sounds like it needs to be federal law, not state law.
I got to start somewhere, brother. I get you. Delegate Queen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a clarifying amendment I want to make that since we met with the group, so I don't know how to address that. That's all.
Go ahead. What's the clarifying amendment?
Actually, there's two, but one that was brought to my attention. I'll start with the first one from the casinos who talked about the idea that they may have hundreds of places where cameras may be throughout their facility, and they want clarifying language around. Do they have to post information about, you're being videoed there?
I believe we covered that. Tiffany, didn't we cover that?
It wasn't covered in our meeting.
She's talking about something different.
I apologize.
Yeah. So but she's aware of that change. So I think I would like to use that to say that it's posted at a point of entry. I think that would be good as clarifying language. And I talked to the Office of Attorney General. They seem to be okay with that as well. So can I offer that as an amendment?
You sure can.
Okay. Do I need to restate it or?
Does everybody understand the amendment she's trying to offer was basically how having, instead of at each collection point, i.e. every camera that may be using biometric collections, just having it at all points of entry into a building that has multiple cameras? Tiffany, go ahead.
Can I also clarify that is for people who are using or collecting the biometric data for fraud prevention and security purposes?
True. That's only for those people. That's correct.
Yes. So that's the amendment, and this is for fraud. What was that again, Tiffany?
Fraud prevention and security purposes.
I swore we already had this in the bill. We decided not. Did I say no?
No, we did not have that in the bill. So what we had in the, what the amendments already say is that if it's for that fraud and security purposes, they have to post a notice at the point of collection. The issue became, what if there are 100 cameras in the ceiling?
I got you.
And that's what she's saying.
Okay.
So instead of collection, it's point of entry.
Yeah. And that's for the fraud and security purposes.
Only.
Brian?
Yeah, I'll move the amendment favorable.
Second.
Okay, on the amendment, all in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, so what's your second amendment, Pam?
The second amendment, again, is a little bit clarifying as well. It's related to section 1444.2 that deals with the private entities in possession of biometric data. They should develop a written plan that talks about how the data be made public and available, and also a retention schedule and guideline. But it is a little confusing if an individual is exempt from that, then they wouldn't be collecting it. Therefore, they wouldn't need a retention schedule. So we just want to make sure that that's clear. And I think, the council understands how to make that change, but just to make sure it's clarifying that if someone is exempt from that collection, you wouldn't need a retention schedule.
Is that a necessary change, Tiffany, or is that already clear enough?
Understood.
No, I think the what they're trying to get at is the 30 days, or not 30 days. Well, yeah, that is part of it, but the 3 years after last interaction, long story short, there's something called, I think it's called the voluntary exclusion program, where people can say, don't let me into your place voluntarily. And they're saying if they're on that list, they shouldn't have to comply with the 3 years,
right?
Deleting the information for 3 years.
Got you.
Because they're on that list and they don't want to be in the place anyway. So they have to keep their information to help them voluntarily be excluded from the establishment.
Correct. And is there a way to articulate that though? There is. There is?
There is. Mm-hmm.
All right, so what's the second amendment?
That's it.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Brian?
Move favorable.
Second.
On the amendment, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposition?
Move the bill as amended.
Thank
Second.
you. As amended, no discussion. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Brooks.
Aye.
Delegate Fisher.
No.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Aye.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Harrison.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
No.
Delegate Mouts.
No.
Delegate Carey.
Yes.
Delegate Valeria.
No.
Delegate Branch.
Yeah.
Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Walker.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
No.
Delegate Ernst.
No.
Delegate Fennell.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
No.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, we have the bill 1238. Tiffany, you said you needed some more time on this bill?
No.
You
No,
got
I
it?
think I'm okay.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead and explain, remind us what the bill is again.
Yeah, so this is the bill that requires a motion picture house that has more than, that owns, leases, or operates more than 2 movie theaters to provide open captioning on, open captioning for each movie that provides it one time during the weekday, one time during the weekend, among other things.
All right, it's Delegate Chi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say that at first I was not sure how I would vote for this bill, but after the hearing, I'm very comfortable voting for this bill. I think it's a great idea, especially because we are, only asking them to do a few times a week, especially as someone like me who grew up not speaking English. I know this could be tremendously beneficial, not just for people with hearing issues, but also for people who could use some assistance understanding what they are watching. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'll say this, guys, because I'm trying to, what I kept hearing was that somehow this is going to lower their income, and the movie theaters have been suffering, which is why I discussed, and I said I would bring into discussion our villains amendment of bring it to 1. I sound like there are other amendments besides just the 1 and 1, though, correct, Tiffany?
No, not really. The other amendment that I really just wanted to check on was referencing the federal citation there and what exactly the federal citation requires. And they're honestly, from what I looked at in the last 10 minutes, pretty much the same. I can read a little bit of it.
You don't have to. I wanted to make sure the bill, except for, I want to make sure the amendments would not change anything beside, instead of doing it, explain if the bill was amended, what would their requirements now be?
Okay, so the amendment is saying that they have to comply with federal law, which everyone is already doing. That's the first part in relation to closed captioning.
Correct, which, right, they're already supposed to be
so
doing.
Yeah, so certain movie theaters of certain sizes have to have a certain amount on hand and all of this. This is what they're already supposed to be doing. So it says comply with federal law. The language that was stricken is pretty much saying that. It says provide access to fully operational and well-maintained closed captioning technology for general public for each screening of a motion picture that produces and is produced and offered with closed captioning. And that is what the federal law says. I think maybe they just wanted to codify federal law, but decided to say it this way.
That made sense.
So the amendment is doing that.
Okay.
And then, yeah, the amendment is just bringing it down to 1, let me see, once during the weekday, once during the weekend for each motion picture that is produced and available in open captioning and shown at a location. Okay, that's new. Shown at a location with at least 8 motion picture screens. So I think this is to get at the motion picture theaters that have 2 screens. They might, and they still might fall under this bill because they own and operate more than 2 locations that have 2 screens. So I believe that's what this is trying to get at.
Right. And I guess, so the 1 and 1, how is that different from the current bill? Is the current bill also 1 and 1? It's just.
No, that's the same.
Yeah. So the difference is the amount of theaters, correct?
Correct. And it says shown at least twice per day during the entire Friday through Thursday play week. What? Hold on.
Okay, so this is really, all right, let's go into the discussion. Delegate Aaron's.
Just real fast, the movie people actually said they were going to provide financials on this. Did they ever do that?
I have not received anything. I don't know if anyone else has.
Okay, thank you.
I did, we can send it out.
Say that again.
They sent over the financial analysis to me. I can send that out.
Okay.
Next, Delegate Aaron's, is your hand still up?
Yes, but I'm done. Sorry.
Thank you. Delegate Brooks.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Yeah, my question, especially on the amendment, that's what I was thinking about. It says, shown at a location with at least 8 movie picture screens, you know. Now, the original bill, it said that if the person owned at least 2 motion picture houses. So with that 8 motion picture screen, is that going to screen out quite a few of the different options or places that these individuals would be able to go? You know, and what's the average number of screens?
Sounds like it's definitely the intent. And again, I don't think council is going to have the exact number of screens that we're talking as far as establishment. So for the smaller towns and the other areas, they have like, 2 or 3 screens or 4 screens. They're not going to fall into this requirement. So I believe that, that's probably an issue, obviously.
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah,
Delegate Adams.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so in the amendment, and I'm looking at it now, I mean, there's talking here about, we're not talking about closed captioning, we're talking about open captioning. So the
Correct.
amendment seeks to fix that. The federal rules discussed because you don't want to get rid of the federal requirements for access and operational equipment because you're going to have these other shows that do not have open captioning. You still need the federal law to be, and that's why that's a clarifying, not a.
Correct.
Right, without a doubt. We had the language in there. They just quoted federal law instead of using our language. Correct.
So and so much be considered reading the amendment. The substantive part of that is to help the small independents who may not have enough screens to meet the obligations, hold them harmless to this bill, and that's why you're trying to create the 8 screens or more, because they have the ability to meet the obligations and at the same time still do business. And I think that's the rationale behind the amendment.
That's your logic is that if you have these open captions, that they won't be able to do business because people that can hear won't want to see those captions. Is that the logic you're using?
Well, I believe that if you're a theater goer and keeping in mind these theaters have been closed. I mean, I like going to the movies. I'm just saying they've been closed, and there's no way that any economic data would show that anything other than these theaters are just trying to get back on their feet. Attendance has been down 60%. So, even now, it's not even close to the way it was pre-pandemic. So whether or not we pass the bill, you want to pass the amendment because at least incrementally, if you're going to pass it, okay, fine, do this, but at least make it workable for those theaters that have enough screens to actually comply with the law. You put this on these small operators, and I do think that even with the number of times that the current bill allows, you're putting them in a bad spot. So the amendment, I think, substantively is acknowledging the small independents are separate from and distinct from the large operators as to how they can comply.
Would you agree if it was 4 or more screens?
I'm going to support the amendment because I see where it's coming.
Fine. We'll deal with it. I guess I was trying to find a middle ground because, go on, John. I'll put my 2 cents in.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think the middle ground would be if the bill is going to move, and I don't know that I support the bill, but if it's going to move, do this year. And if you want to come back next year and revisit once we have some of the economic data that supports improved attendance, maybe that's how you go about it. Just my 2 cents.
Gotcha. Johnny Mouse.
Yeah, and I was just going to follow up on that. I mean, that's sort of what the purpose of this amendment is the amendment is meant to be a middle ground to prevent opposition. That's something that I think this standard is doable. And you're right. I mean, 4 would include a lot of the smaller entities. If this goes in, it's workable and it's not controversial. Without it, I think it unfortunately is controversial because I think there's a lot of support for the substance of the bill. That's
Delegate Pippy.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to speak on the bill once we get through the amendment. I apologize.
Okay, Delegate Jackson.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I have 2 questions. The first to council, did you guys get my amendment to add my name to this bill?
Yes.
Okay. And number 2, I have a problem with the language of this amendment, the last sentence that says shown at least twice per day during the entire Friday through Thursday play week. What I take this to say is if a movie is playing less than twice per day,
they won't show it with the open captioning. Am I correct in
Then
that?
they're not required to.
They're not required to. And I think this is just another loophole. I mean, every movie can't be Spider-Man No Way Home, you know. So some movies are popular and some aren't. But that doesn't mean that the unpopular ones, you know, don't want to be viewed by, you know, this community that we're trying to support. So I have a problem with that amendment, or that language.
Okay. Is that all, Carl?
That's it.
All right, Delegate Impalaria?
Yeah, I remember from the testimony that these movies either come with the captions on it or with the captions not on it, which means to make them have the captions, you're doubling their cost because they're going to have to pay twice for the same identical movie, even if they're only shown it a few times. And unfortunately, the technology is not like our TV that you can turn it on and turn it off. So while I do support the concept of this, I do have a problem with, you know, you're automatically doubling the cost of what it costs that movie theater to rent these movies, because that is a total different movie with the caption on it than the one that does not have the caption on it. And that was the testimony that we heard in the hearing. So I think their economic concern is that they're going to have to pay twice. And so even if they pick up some more people coming to the theater, we've still doubled their cost for them. And that's a real problem. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Delegate Jackson, you still have a question? You just try to look cool. All right. You know, you can change the color of your hand too if you want. Delegate Crosby.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if there's a way to strike a compromise here. I mean, we could make it mirror Hawaii's law, which just requires 2 showings per week. It doesn't require it on the weekend and during the week. So it could just be 2 during the week. Or, I mean, you could exempt the first week of a brand new premiere showing. So people who go see like Spider-Man for the first week, then the second week, this would then trigger into effect. And if everybody, I sent out the economic data. The problem with the data, it does come from essentially Hawaii's DLS, but the problem is if you look at it, all it does is do a comparison between 2019 and 2020. And obviously to
Right.
say that that is because of open captioning is kind of crazy to me, because really it's COVID that drove those numbers.
Literally
So
COVID. I was just looking at that. Like the data is not supportive of the arguments because during COVID, 19 and 20. So I guess, and I would ask my colleagues on the other side to think about what the vice chair said. Is there, you know, I believe that this bill would pass out right now if we put it to a vote. But I do understand the trepidation you guys have for the small businesses. That's why I said maybe 4, or what I think Delegate Crosby said was something to do with, you know, exempting first week of the first run. And I say this, I literally just dropped my daughter, all her friends off at the movie theater the other day. And it's like, she's only 14. And I couldn't imagine her and her friends not being able to go to the movies just because there's no place that stuff works. And there's 8 of them. And I just, you know, yeah, to me, it's like, obviously anybody who has, you know, young kids, it's a little bit more, it can be more personal. I also own a business, so I understand that, but I would like to try to find a way to make this work. And obviously, and I'm not asking any of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to vote for this bill. I'm saying, what would an amendment be? If not this amendment, what do you think would be a little more fair? I think the 8 or more theaters, I think that really cuts out a lot of, you might say it cuts out a lot of small businesses. I say it cuts out a lot of people with hearing loss, and it removes them from the playing field as well. So when you're saving small businesses, we're also stopping these individuals from being able to, you know, see these movies. And I would like to see if there'd be a better compromise in the amendment itself. Because I'm worried that if we put the amendment on now, it ain't gonna pass. I'll say that with my chest on that one. But I would love to hear some other options that we could work this out. We are a smart committee that possibly could give you guys what you believe is, even if you're not gonna vote for the bill, because I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking what might be something better. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'll just say two things. One, I've been on committee for 8 years, as long as you have. This is a new subject. We've never had this subject before our committee before. So economic data, whether or not Hawaii's mirroring COVID or not, I think what you and I can both agree on is that we are in unprecedented times and that we are coming out of a pandemic, which brings point two, which is it wasn't that many weeks ago, somebody brought up Spider-Man No Way Home. Well, you know, my wife and I were in Salisbury at the Regal Cinema Theaters. That is a theater with probably 200 seats in it. And I got to tell you, that opening night, all right, it was me and Jill, and there might have been 4 or 5 other couples. This is not a traditional opening where you have 150, 200 people show up per viewing. That was an open theater with probably 16 different screens with a movie during prime time. I'm talking about nighttime. There were maybe 12 people in the entire theater. Even if it was $20 a ticket, and I don't think it was $20, it was less than that. That means that entire theater is running for a couple $100. And yes, I spent $12 on popcorn. And yes, I spent $8 on the soda. Thank goodness that I did that, because I mean, honestly, to be kind of honest, I don't know how they're making money. I don't know how theaters are making money. You know what I'd like to have more than this open captioning bill? I'd like to have my theater around for the next 12 months. If you want to pass the bill, I think the industry's brought amendments that they think will work. And come back next year on this. Come back next year. Not on the heels of the pandemic.
So,
I'm telling you right now, these theaters are not in a position to do this.
And all I'm asking you to do, and I got you, we're gonna go down the line again. I'm asking you to think that, I don't know if this amendment's gonna pass. Is there, just be thinking, is there something that might be a middle ground between this amendment and what the bill says? I understand your point. I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just trying to read the room, buddy. So just give it a minute. I'll come back to you, I promise. Delegate Pepe.
I was going to wait, but I think it's important. So, I mean, you guys know I represent Frederick, and we have the very important and very successful Maryland.
Hey, yeah, we're in the middle of the
Hold on,
vote.
Thomas. Wait. T. There you go. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. We have a very large deaf community in Frederick. They're everywhere, and it's great. I mean, they're a major contributor to our economy. We love their presence, and that's why when the opponents of the bill came in, I asked them in committee, what were the theaters in Frederick doing? And what I found out was that both theaters, one which is brand new, Warehouse Cinemas, they both have partnered with the school and partnered with the community and have made accommodations on their own, accommodations that would keep them moving forward, keep them open. And it seems to work. And I got to be honest with you, my concern with this bill is, you know, unlike adding a handicap accessible ramp to the building or other federally mandated accommodations, we're messing with the business model. You know, we're changing the types of screenings they can show, you know, and they indicated that there's a difference between one with captions and one without. And that may not be a big deal to us, but if you're in the movie business, and as Delegate Adams alluded to, and you've been just struggling for 2 years to get people in the door, you know, we're adding another major hurdle, and we're doing it in places around the state where we don't even know if there's a market for it. And so, to your point, I mean, look, if this is going to pass, then adding an amendment that is better and less burdensome is a good idea. But I still think it's going to be problematic for the industry, and that's very concerning. And so to ask us on the other side to kind of come up with something that works, I don't know what's workable. I mean, it'd almost be better if we would offer some sort of grant or program for the industry. I don't know, like a carrot.
I got you. The reason I was saying that,
stick, but I'll leave it.
Jesse, the reason I was saying that is, again, I'm not asking you to vote for the bill.
No, I know.
So if you like, we could vote the amendment, but if it fails, then we're stuck with voting for the bill. And I think that doesn't serve you guys well. I'm not trying to push you to the other side of this issue until we resolve this issue. Johnny Mouts.
Yeah, so Chairman, I mean, this amendment has been proposed by the industry. And I think if it goes down and the bill moves the way the bill's drafted, the bill still has to go through a process. And that process will have to play out. You know, this, I think to amend the bill and then still have a problem from the industry side I don't think that really serves any purposes, you know. You're
Johnny,
still,
do you believe if we pass this bill with the amendments that the industry still won't have a problem with this bill? I think they just read the room just like everybody else and realizes that something's better than nothing. Because no. Like most things, most people would rather have whatever bill we're talking about die. This is just them trying to placate us. I'm not saying this in a negative way. They're trying to meet us somewhere, but overall, they're still gonna have a problem with this bill. They're still gonna do their damnedest to kill it in the Senate because that's their job.
Right.
So I'm not saying, what I'm saying, if we cut their amendment and change their amendment, even if we gave them their amendment, that doesn't mean they're gonna be pleased with the outcome of this bill.
Yeah, and then that's why I think as far as like changing what's been proposed, I almost feel like it's better to vote it the way that it is and let it be what it is and then let the process play out.
We can do that, but I'm trying to remember, we're the ones who hit the button, so I was trying to let y'all put your teeth marks in it. Delegate Branch.
I heard a little discussion about Hawaii, but how long, one question is how long have this been in Hawaii and how well is it doing? I heard somebody mention COVID, but I didn't understand that.
I think it might have been maybe like 2019.
Yeah,
that it started, if I recall
It was
correctly.
during COVID, so we don't really have a good idea because Hawaii's numbers are taken 2019 and in 2020, they compare them. In 2020 is when COVID hit.
Were it bad numbers? I'm assuming they were bad.
Yeah, it was COVID. Of course, the theaters did horrible. The numbers are horrible because it was COVID.
Had nothing to compare to.
Right.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
So council, real quick on that note, it was actually enacted in 2015 and then it was amended in 2019.
Okay.
So, and then the only data that was provided was 19 to 20. I don't know what happened between 15 and 19.
Right. I mean, and so that leaves that even more so of a question then. If it's going on, what about those first 3 years? How much of a hit, if any, did they take? I hate, it's painful to assume that caring and you know, working with a handicap will have you lose that much money. Delegate Watson.
Yeah, I was just
before you move, Mr. Chairman, one last thing.
Sure.
How much different is that? Why is our bill so more further along than that of Hawaii? If they don't have any numbers, why it looks like we're going a little bit beyond where they currently are. That's just my last question or statement.
I just believe that's what the deaf community had asked for through Delegate Bhandari.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Delegate Watson, finally.
on the amendment. One possible compromise would be to make it once a week instead of twice a week, not the showing, but which movies are shown, which is part 3. Shown at least once per day during the entire Friday through Thursday play week. That was the piece that Delegate Jackson wasn't happy with.
Yeah. That's actually not a bad idea. I know we're trying to really solve a problem here, guys. We're actually sound like we're trying to solve 2 problems. We're obviously trying to solve the problem that the deaf community brought, and we're trying to make sure that early on that we don't do anything more to hamstring our theaters. So I just everybody keep that in mind. We have 2 issues here we're trying to solve. Delegate Harrison.
Yes, I was just going to ask if Delegate Mounts would be amenable to 6 theaters as opposed to 8.
Yeah, I mean, I explained earlier that I thought it'd be better just to vote the amendment as it's been proposed. But if you want to change that, then I'm flexible to that.
Johnny, and I got you, man, but I'm really trying to get to the solution here that would lead as little harm as possible while addressing the problem.
Yeah, so yeah, I'd say yes. Yeah, sure.
Brian?
Can I offer a separate amendment after we vote on Delegate Mounts? And mine would exempt the first week of the showing, and it would go to 2 showings per week and not mandate whether it was on the weekend or the weekday. So that is what Hawaii's is, with the addition of exempting the first week.
All right, so so we're saying, okay, so do we want to move forward on the original amendment? And Delegate Watson, you still have a question?
No, I just wanted to make that suggestion.
No, we're working through this, guys. And again, this would work so much easier if we were actually in committee. It's awkward.
But I also don't think we should be, I almost feel like we're overthinking it.
As far as,
I mean, it's probably going to be hard for us to get it right as a committee working on it. But on the other hand, I think it's an important bill to move forward.
yes,
So I think we ought to do the best we can and move it forward.
yeah, no, we're something's coming out today. I'm pretty sure we're going to move something. I'm not guaranteeing that, but something's going to happen. Chris Adams.
Delegate Harrison had referenced 6.
It's the same number you requested, right, Chris?
You're asking where the middle ground would be on something like this, and that still protects the small guy, which was my point.
All right.
And Mr. Chairman, I think it's your point too. I like the fact that we're having this debate, and it's dynamic in that I think this is a tough subject. So,
right.
Thank you.
But all right, so we have the original amendment. Whose amendment was it again? It was Johnny's. Do we want to vote on that amendment? And then assuming it pass, if it doesn't pass, we'll move on to other amendments?
Move
That sound
favorable to
good?
Johnny's amendment.
Okay. Was there a second?
Second.
All right. Mr. Vice Chair. On Johnny's amendment?
No.
Yeah. On Delegate Brooks?
Down.
Delegate Fisher?
No.
Are you sure? On the amendment, on Johnny's amendment?
Sure. Anything we can do to make this bill worse, I would be happy with, because it's a terrible bill.
Thank you for your wonderful input, buddy. Delegate Queen?
No.
Delegate Turner?
No.
Delegate Rogers?
No.
Delegate Harrison?
No.
Delegate Jackson?
Nope.
Delegate Pippy?
No.
Jesus. Delegate Mounts?
Yes.
You got to vote for it. Delegate Carey?
No.
Delegate Impalaria?
Oh, why not? Yes.
Delegate Branch?
No.
Delegate Valderrama?
No.
Delegate Walker?
No.
Delegate Chi?
No.
Delegate Adams?
Yes, I'm supporting that amendment.
Delegate Ernst?
Yes.
Delegate Fennell?
No.
Delegate Charkoudian?
No.
Delegate Howard?
Yes.
Delegate Watson?
No.
The amendment fails. Okay. Do we have any other ideas, ladies and gentlemen?
I'll move for 6 locations,
And
6
before we-
motion picture screens.
And before we do that, do we want to combine any other amendment, any other portions? Or are we just doing changing the number? Right, because right now, what is the number right now, council?
8.
Huh?
8.
That's in the amendment. The amendment died.
Oh, what's the number? What?
What's the number of movie? It's every movie.
It's if you have 2 or more movie theater locations and it applies to you, and it's shown once in the weekday and once in the weekend, there's no other parameters
Okay.
in the bill.
Delegate Pippy, you have a question?
No, I have an idea. You were looking for ideas?
Yes, please.
Okay, so, and I'll just throw it out there, and this is what I think would be rational, in my opinion, but, we have a large budget surplus, and I think, we need to do what we can to help, individuals in our community of all situations. But what if we did this for participating theaters that agree to a certain amount of showings that we talked about, whether it's 4 or 6, what about offering them a tax break, a tax?
We're not Ways and Means, Mr. Pippy.
Hey, well, we can do a joint hearing. Send me over there, and Vanessa and I are cool.
I feel like you're fishing up this bill a little bit, but.
No, well, I'll put it out there and then I'll leave it and you guys
Sure.
can kill it quickly.
Okay.
For participating theaters that agree to whatever we come up with, we give a state tax rebate for the times that they show. So people pay for services there for those individuals, and that may cover the difference that these theaters may lose by offering open caption or having to have two different showing reels or tapes or whatever they call the theater system. But that's something I would be in support of, because that is the carrot. It gives these theaters an opportunity to partner with the deaf community, and it also gives them a break, and that's what they need. And that's something that I would be willing to support.
Okay. All right, we have Chris Adams.
Mr. Chairman, I think Delegate Harrison was proposing something that I would.
We're just getting ideas now. I would ask everyone to wait on an actual amendment so we can get the ideas out there and then discuss something.
Well, my idea would be to support Harrison's idea, which sounds like it was Moutz's amendment with number 6 instead of.
Correct.
Yes.
And I wrote that down as an idea. Thank you. Johnny Moutz.
I just want to clarify for this discussion, the bill says 2 houses, 2 movie houses. The amendment we just discussed was 8 screens.
Correct.
Which is very different.
Mhm.
And I just want to make sure everybody understood that.
Yes. So you have to own 2 movie houses, correct? Under the original bill. This one, you can just own 1, but it has to have 8 or more screens, right?
Yeah, and so like in our part, in the rural parts of the world, where you have the smaller theaters, they're owned by bigger theater companies. And so where there's, where they have this, 4 or 6 screens, they would be covered. However, they don't have the volume of the other locations. That's important.
I got you. Okay. And
Mr. Chair.
Well, yes, ma'am.
I need to clarify that amendment. It still requires the 2 motion picture houses in addition to the 8.
Oh, man. So do they both?
I don't know if that was the intent, but that is still what is in the language.
Do they both have to be, do both motion picture houses have to be bigger than 8 or just 1? Can you have 1 small one and 1 large one and still be included?
I don't know. That's not clear.
Shit. All right. Well, that's a problem. All right. Delegate Crosby, you had an idea?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So mine would be to mirror Hawaii and have it 2 showings per week. We don't restrict it to 1 on the weekday, 1 on the weekend. And additionally, you exempt the first week the movie premieres.
Second that.
So 2 showings per week, exempt first week.
Yeah, so it is literally Hawaii's law with the exemption of the premiere week.
All right. Tiffany, you understand that amendment?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll do these in march order. We'll start with the vice chair and we'll move backwards. See if
Okay,
you can-
move favorable.
we got to explain the amendment one more time.
Sure. It essentially said it would mirror Hawaii's law in saying that there are 2 open caption showings per week. It doesn't restrict it to whether it's a weekday or weekend. In addition, it exempts the first week after the premiere.
Okay. Now,
Wait a minute. I'm sorry, you said the first week after a premiere or the first week of, or the week of a premiere? That's different.
Yeah, correct. So if the movie comes out on a Tuesday, you would get Tuesday to the following Tuesday.
it exempts the week of the premiere.
So the week of the premiere.
Correct. Sorry. Yes.
Now, to my Republican colleagues, before we move forward on this anymore, do you feel that that's at least better than the original bill? Is there any input? And I don't want just pouting anger that I'll get from Fisher later. Delegate Aaron.
It's better than the bill. I'm sorry, Steve.
You're fine. Go ahead, Steve. You look angry.
I'm not saying that that it's better. I'm just saying, you still have the big problem. You have the expense of doing it. And I think that's part of the problem.
What do you
we're
believe the
fighting.
expense is, Steve?
Well, to bring in the means to do the captioning. And
They
what have
made it clear that there is no difference in expense.
Okay.
It's just a different movie. It's the same thing because they have to produce these
No, you
movies
pay
with open
twice.
caption.
But
No, you pay twice.
No, you don't.
It's
You
two.
pay
Yes, they
once.
do. That's what he said. There's a movie that has
No.
captions on it. That one they have to rent. There's a movie that doesn't have captions on it. That one they have to rent. So it does double the cost of renting the movies. It's not like your TV where you push a button and turn it on and off. They're actually two separate movies, which they'll have to rent twice. They'll rent one with captions, then they'll have to rent one without captions. So you're doubling the cost. Maybe everybody missed that, but
Yeah.
that was the testimony in the hearing.
Because that's not what I heard at all. He said you could buy either or. You didn't have to buy them both. My understanding was, and I can't imagine that my TV.
Well, then you got to 100% of the time show the one with the captions on it.
I can't imagine that my TV is more complex than the movie theater, but I heard something.
It
different.
is. It is, unfortunately. It is. And that was the testimony. I might not read everything, but I listened to everything.
Yeah.
CT. Hey, CT.
Yes, Mark.
I was just going to chime in for Delegate Arentz and also for Delegate Pippy that I think what they're talking about is as a result of making the accommodation, it's not the cost of the subtitles and so forth. The accommodation is the loss. Making the accommodation requires and will probably result in the loss of seats being sold.
Yes, sir. That I did understand.
And that's really, and
Yes,
that's
sir.
why Delegate Pippy's proposal was very well thought out because it was, okay, so this is a taking of seats. It's a taking of your primary business and your primary business model, restating Delegate Pippy's point, and therefore, if there's compensation for that taking, then I think the bill makes perfect sense. I think you probably have Republicans maybe even vote for it. But because there is a taking, and I say a taking because I think a reasonable person, me included, I know when I'm sitting in front of a TV, if there are the closed captioning things go on, it drives me crazy. I know in a movie theater that would be the case as well. And that was the only point that I was trying to underscore that Delegate Arentz and Delegate Pippy were making.
No, and I think we all understood the fear of that. Unfortunately, the single piece of evidence they showed did not demonstrate that because they literally sent between COVID years and they ignored 2014 through 2019, which may have given a little more power to that argument. Because again, it's heartbreaking to think that by serving the deaf community that you're like penalizing a business, that a business can't do both, that they can't make money on this, that you're going to lose money. And unfortunately, the evidence that they sent us did not show that, but they did testify to that. So I understand, and I'm agreeing with your point that by their testimony, they're going to lose money because they're not going to be able to fill as many seats on those showings. And the showings would be, so those 2 movies per week, exempting the first week according to this. But I got your point. I kind of, that's what I heard from the movie theaters was not that they had to pay twice, but that it was going to lose, the butts in seats were going to be lost. So, all right. Are there any other discussion on the, yes, Seth?
Yeah, the amendment about the 2 movies per week, that's just any movie that they choose to make
to show
with the open captions. So they don't have to do it for every movie that they purchase.
No, I believe they do.
They can choose
I-
what movie that they want to.
No,
Can I read the language?
please.
Okay. At least 2 motion picture houses in the state shall provide open captioning for each motion picture it screens each week that is produced and offered with closed captioning for at least blah, blah, blah. So if the movie is produced and offered with
open caption.
what does that say? Closed?
Closed cap, yeah.
Yeah.
It's open caption.
So if
So
if it is produced and offered with it, then they have to.
So if they're showing the Goonies,
those movies.
if they're showing the Goonies from 1985, they still have to show it with open caption, at least.
If it's produced and offered.
That's correct.
Are most or all movies produced? I would imagine most.
That was their testimony, was that they are.
So Delegate Impellier is correct then?
No, because again, I heard much differently because again, I'm sure we would have heard much more testimony about them having to buy double of each and every movie. I would have thought that would be the primary reason that they would be up in arms if we're forcing them to buy one of each movie, one movie like this and one movie like this.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. I heard butts and seats, but I had heard nothing about the expense of actually acquiring the movie. And I would have thought that that would be a decent sized expense. If I remember correctly, how much it costs to rent from Blockbuster, I'm assuming these are about as expensive. So I would have assumed we would have heard much more about that expense too, and no testimony on that. So we have the amendment. Let's work backwards then. We have the vice chair's amendment. Again, does everybody understand the amendment? Okay. Briefly, Mr. Vice Chair, on the amendment.
Aye.
Delegate Brooks,
Aye.
Delegate Fisher,
Yeah.
Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Harrison,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yes.
Delegate Pippy,
No.
Delegate Mounts,
Sure. Yes.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Impellier,
No.
Delegate Branch, Talmadge,
Yes, yes, yes.
love old brothers and new technology. Delegate Valderrama,
Yes.
Delegate Walker,
Yes.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Adams,
Yes.
Delegate Ernst,
No.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian. Lori? She is excused. Delegate Howard?
Do we want to check on Jay Walker? It sounded like he was being chased by zombies.
It really did, didn't it?
Yes,
Whatever.
yes, yes to the amendment.
And Delegate Watson?
Yes.
The amendment passes. Okay, and colleagues, I want to ask, out of respect, do you guys still want to go forward on the other amendments? Honestly, I don't know if I can even amend it to require Ways and Means to do something. In fact, I know I can't. I've been chastised so many times before, Pippi. I can't require another committee. I can't obligate another committee to do anything. But I do appreciate the idea, and I don't think that'd be a bad idea next year for a bill, assuming we get to come back. So can we withdraw that amendment?
You want me to withdraw it?
I want you to withdraw that amendment because I can't do it.
Are you sure? I think you can.
I second his amendment.
See, that's just what I'm talking about right there. Now you woke Rick up. Now we all have to pay. Okay.
Well, and look, this is a good amendment for you just passed. Honestly, it almost complements it.
Guys, this is because I'm a new chair. I'm sure I would have a rule on the tip of my tongue if I had been here a while, but I don't. So we'll just go through the process of telling another committee what to do. Mr. Vice Chair, go down now. Of course you can't. Sorry.
Good swing district vote here.
Aye.
Delegate
That's just what
Brooks?
I'm doing.
Delegate Brooks,
No.
Delegate Fisher,
No.
Delegate Queen,
No.
Delegate Turner,
No.
Delegate Rogers,
Ooh.
Delegate Harrison,
No.
Delegate Jackson,
No.
Delegate Pippy,
Yes.
Delegate Mounts,
Yes.
Delegate Carey.
This is the vice chair's amendment, right, Mr. Chairman?
No, it's not the Vice Chair's amendment.
No.
Delegate Impellier,
Yes.
Delegate Branch,
They've confused me. I don't know.
this is me telling Ways and Means how to spend their tax money.
No, we can't do that.
I know. Delegate Valderrama,
No.
Delegate Walker, Delegate Walker?
Yes.
He would love to do that.
Of course he would. Delegate Chi?
It confused me too.
Delegate Adams?
I'm voting with Delegate Walker.
Delegate Aaron's? Steve, you here? Nah, it's past his bedtime. All right, he's excused. Delegate Fennell?
No.
Delegate Charkoudian?
No.
Delegate Howard?
We got to let these other committees know who's boss. Yes.
Delegate Watson?
No.
Thank you to my loyal colleagues for not getting me in trouble. The amendment fails. The amendment fails as it should have. Thank you. Mr. Vice Chair, you're fired. We have one more minute. Delegate Harrison, in light
I
of,
withdraw my amendment.
thank you, Lord.
Oh.
Thank you.
Don't
Thank
withdraw that, Delegate
I'm a good
Harrison.
team player and don't ever forget it.
I try not to.
So
Okay,
wait,
guys.
it's a different team.
Yes, she is.
No, wait a minute. Excuse me, Mr. Chair. I believe there were some people who wanted to be added to the bill.
Who
As
would
a
like their name added to
co-sponsor?
this bill? Raise your hand. We have Carl Jackson. I'll call him out too. We have Carl Jackson.
I got a different color hand.
There you go. We got Mike Rogers. Delegate Harrison. We got Delegate Queen. Delegate Brooks. Delegate Chi. Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Turner. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Valderrama. And Delegate Wilson.
Right?
Talmadge, you sure you don't want to be on it?
What the hell? Stick me on.
Delegate Branch.
Yeah, you should. I think you should put me on it too, Watson.
And Watson. Okay.
Are you good, council?
But does that mean I'm the only Democrat not on it?
No, I'm not on it either, Ned.
You guys are in good company.
Yeah.
Not
Misery
leadership.
loves company.
You won't be in leadership anymore, but you're in good company. So, all right. So we have on the bill as amended. Do I have a second?
Okay, Ken.
Second.
Thank you. On the bill as amended, Mr. Former Vice Chair.
Aye. I'll be down to judiciary.
Delegate Brooks.
Yes, Mr.
Delegate
Chair.
Fisher.
No.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Harrison.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
No.
Delegate Mounts.
No.
Delegate Carey.
Yes.
Delegate Impalaria.
No.
Delegate Branch.
Aye.
Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Walker.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
No.
Delegate Aaron's. He's still asleep. Delegate Fennell.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
Yes.
What? Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Bill as amended passes. Colleagues, thank you very much for your hard work and your patience, and to the council, thank you very much. I'm sure it was causing you guys quite a bit of chagrin. Please be paying attention for any floor announcements and emails/text for when we're going to vote next. We should be voting every day. Bob, are we voting tomorrow?
Yes, sir. I don't know that we have a time. We have to see what happens with the floor sessions.
We have 2 sessions tomorrow, so we don't know when we're going to be voting. So I just ask everybody to make sure we just pay attention. Thank you guys for your hard work. And to my colleagues on the Republican Party, thank you for your input. I know you didn't get what you want, but you at least help us craft something. So I appreciate it.
We're used to it.
Thank you. God bless you guys, and everybody have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, guys.
All right.